Nobody Named Kevin Podcast. I think this is episode 4. Is there anybody in the room named Kevin?
No.
I wouldn't dare.
No. You'd have to get rid of us.
We get legal name changes and then kick ourselves out.
That's how we get rid of every member that joins the podcast if it ever gets going. Yeah, dude, you should legally change your name to Kevin, dude. It'd be a hilarious joke. And then it's like, oh, you changed your name to Kevin? Get off the podcast. It was in the contract.
Do it for the show, bro. Can't have you back on, sorry.
Oh, so what do we want to lead in with this week?
Dude, I'm excited about crypto because it's popping today.
Dude, first time it's
What's
popping,
up with
like
that?
after the week of being down.
It's just up
It's
today.
funny. Well, it's funny because, like, it's up. Everyone wants to, like, is happy about it again. And I see people posting about it again. It's so funny because when it was dipping, all my feeds were super quiet. All the people talking about what to buy just went silent. Now it's up again. They're like, yeah, I cashed in on the dip. You know I did. I'm like, oh, yeah? Did you?
Well, dude, that's like my thing
Yeah.
though. Like, what do you really talk about in a dip? You know what I mean? It's a dip. Like, to be honest, if everything's dipping, it's hard to know which one to jump into. You just kind of take a risk.
There was a few that still climbed, even with Bitcoin dipping, but it was like 2 or 3.
Yeah, there was like a few select ones, but it's like, all right, like this is the new wave because everything else is dipping, and it's like it's not really. But I mean, what do you go after?
wave for like
You know
a
what I
week.
mean? What do you talk
Yeah.
about? Like, oh yeah, guys, it's dipping super hard. Please don't sell.
Well, I think what you talk,
Total.
yeah, right. I think what you talk about is the people who are in a high ground position are like, you know, look at all you fools. I told you. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I mean, there's just.
I just kept everything where it was at. Just riding it out, baby.
I just went with my Diecoin strategy, and it actually worked out. So like, I'm not up huge, but on like, I think it's like $30. I'm up like 3 or 4. So like, the Diecoin strat's working for me. It's just I don't have
Nice.
enough money into it to make it pay off huge. But I'm also like incremental gains. I'll just keep doing this, and if it builds high enough, cool. If not, I'm not gonna use it as my main strategy.
See, that's what I'm trying to figure out when to, because I want to do that with Adam. I want to pull it all out at a high and put it in DAI and move it back. But do you get charged for that? Is there gas fees for that?
If so, it's like super small, like not noticeable, because like I moved everything into DAI and then moved everything out of DAI into District OX, and I put it in District OX gained. So like I'm sure, there was no commission fees or anything like that, but I don't know if there was if it was not enough to notice. I don't know if that was because it was only like $30, but it wasn't bad.
That's cool. Man, dude, I wish I just would have thrown a little bit into to Centraland, because that went up
Goofy.
a lot.
Bro,
Yeah.
Yep,
And
I
then the
didn't
BAT
move.
token.
dude,
Man.
so I put a little bit in BAT, and then like it gained like 2 cents, and I was like, all right, I'm out. Because I was like, because there was that part of me that it's like,
gains.
it wasn't even gains. It was more just like, I'm at the top of the wave. It's going to come down from here. And I was right. It was at like, I got in at like 77, 76. It went up to 79.80, pulled out at the 79.80, and then it went right back down to 77. I'm like, all right, cool. So like, I had called the, like, okay, hey, that was bad. Back out of the strategy.
So I was going to
I
ask
always
what y'all
check.
think.
Oh no, the only thing I check is that if it's the all-time high, well then I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna buy it at the all-time high.
See, I never buy at the all-time high, but I do. What's funny is I look at the all-time high, and then I kind of look at what it's been holding at. So, like, that's what got me with District OX as I was looking at it. It's always kind of hovering around 30, but its all-time high was 91. So I'm like, okay, this could take off to a degree. Like, there's room to gain somewhere in here, and it's typically holding about this. So if I get in here, I'm probably safe. I'm probably not going to lose anything. And then if it goes on a nice little run, all right, cool, pull out. But Ethereum, on the other hand, like, dude, I'm just locked in, and that's where I'm, like, down in all my money.
Yeah, I joined the wait list for the 2.0.
Same here. Like the only thing that worries me about it is the staking on it and everything like that. I just don't know how beneficial it's going to be when it pulls out to 2.0.
Well,
it's a big stake though.
What, you talking about the fact that it's like a 7.5%?
You can't buy it in
stake?
staking, like a limited time.
Well, it's going to start, like, once 2.0 happens, that's when you can begin your staking. But the thing is, with it being staked like that, like, I was reading at it, and it's like, it's 7.5 right now, but once they open the wait list, they'll probably drop the amount that it's actually going to be allowed to stake. Which kind of freaks me out about it, because I mean the 7.5 stake is nice, like that'd be cool, but I'm also like, do I have enough money in it to where that 7.5% staking is actually going to do anything for me?
I would say any amount, yes, as long as anything above $50 really. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's more than a bank is going to give you.
Yeah,
I don't even give you like 2%. You know what I mean? So,
but like I said, that's
free money
if you get the 7.5. Because when I was reading into it, it's like it's 7.5 right now, but it's not always going to be 7.5, so it's subject to change.
Well, we just if we want that, we just stage an Ethereum walkout. They'll fix it.
Yeah, just like school, man.
Dude, I like it.
Imagine if we could get somebody on that.
Dude, actually getting people to walk out.
Yeah, I watched a video today about. I mean, it's an older video, but a bunch of people walked out of a warehouse. But you got to get everybody on board. That's the hardest part. It was every Mexican worker left because the head supervisor was being racist and then fired 2 people. So they collectively all left the job site. Like dozens, like droves, just walked out. Now your building's not getting worked on. And it was so fun. There was one third-party contractor just filming the whole thing. He's like, this is crazy, man. He was just a welder, like got third-party hired on, and he just witnessing it. And he's just like, man, he's like, look at all this. And this guy like speaking Spanish to the camera. And he's like, yeah, all that, all my mama. But he's just like watching it go down.
Well, because
it's just so funny.
You know that third-party welder who's there doesn't care because he's like, dude, they already contract us out. I'm here for 2 weeks regardless of whether there's anything to weld or not. So, like, he has no stake. He's getting paid regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's crazy. Like to finally see one actually happen or work. Mm-hmm. A school one honestly would be stupid. I remember there's always a rumor of like this is going to be the day or like senior skip day where nobody's there, and it's like the same 5 popular kids and like the same 5 stoners that don't show up anyway.
I don't know, dude. Senior skip day, I think for like our school actually was somewhat decent. I think it was like 70-something kids. They all went out to the lake or something like that.
Dang.
Like, I want to say it was semi-successful.
That's a healthy amount.
I don't think I went.
I wasn't there, but I knew about the empty seats.
I don't think I was there that day, but I'm pretty sure it was for completely unrelated reasons.
It was kind of a random day.
Too, like,
I think it was like a Thursday or something.
I didn't mean to stage a skip day. I was actually sick. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
sure. Likely story, buddy.
It's like, well, I mean, at the end of the day, 72 kids skip school. What are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's probably 72 kids. Let's be honest, 50 of them have probably never missed a day, so you're not getting them on truancy. And it's like the other ones, if you could have gotten them on truancy, you already would have.
Yeah, like you just assign them more assignments. They just come back to more work. It's like, hey, I know you weren't here. Do this too. I mean, shuffle back to their desk.
Yeah, it's not so much that. It's more that the school's trying to collect their taxes, bro.
Yeah.
Or their money because of the kids for attendance.
Well, maybe if they educated me better, I would know that and I would have stayed.
Yeah, they're going to collect their taxes, but it's like Clayton was saying, if that was their first day miss, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
There was only one time in school... Well, dude, they go after you. There was one time in school I got the letter sent home. I missed too many days, and they were like, "This is a problem. Before we pursue anything, you fix it."
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's like the generic letter that they send out to everyone, but like, dude, I mean, honestly, I feel like I rode the line senior year on like what was actually acceptable, because what would end up happening is like I would show up the first half of the day, lunch would hit. I had 2 lunch periods in a row because they messed up on my schedule, and they're like, "Oh, you should go to the office and get that fixed." Yeah, right. Not doing that. Quentin would always roll through it like he's been to like 6 or 7 classes, is going to miss the last 2, come in on the lunch period. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm heading out at this time. If you want to ride, you got to leave at that time." All right, dude. Just left every single day for like half my classes I didn't go to.
Bro, so you're going to love this, both of y'all. So after D&D last night, I went to a local bar in town. I ran into 2 people we went to school with, and a third I didn't know I went to school with, or maybe he went after me. Literally, bro, they're like, "Who are you hanging out with?" And I told them. And, dude, like, it was just like it started this whole rabbit hole of them telling the legend of Clayton and the PE award and how hard you went. And I'm like, dude, the legend lives on.
Bro.
This guy took it. They're like, "Man, he took it so serious."
Dude, the best part was, like, I really didn't take it that serious. I just talked really serious.
Bro, they said you did a wall run to get out of a pinch. I was like, what?
Yeah, I did that. It was flag football, bro. I got a stunt on these kids. Okay, they come into PE thinking this is gonna be some easy class, and we're gonna halfway try. No, baby, I was there for the gold. I was there to win.
So it was serious.
It was, yeah. And one of the kids said to me, he's like, "Dude," he's like, "because you only have what do you actually have to take PE for? 2 years or 1 year?"
You have to take it for 2 because you need 2 athletic credits, at least in Texas, I think. But
yeah. So the kid was like, he's like, "Dude," he said, "the only reason I took it for the 3rd year was so I could see Clayton take the PE award."
Yeah, bro. Dude, it was hilarious, bro. I took it 4 years, and I always laughed because people were like, "Why are you taking it for 4 years?" I don't know. It's 2 easy credits. Why would I not? Like, yes, I only need the 2 athletic credits, but why would I not take 2 easy credits?
I like how the school system like labeled it as you moving up in these more advanced athletic courses. It didn't just say PE, like it said like I forgot what it was, but it said like actual things, like outdoor activities, and the next one was like something else.
Yeah, the state regulatory, like we have to have these, but they're all the same thing, and no one's ever gonna come in to verify.
I forgot about that.
Not just like in reality, it's just these kids running through a gymnasium, screaming, throwing balls at each other.
Dude,
some of the seniors that take it just sit.
I love the fact, dude, no one was sitting in my PE class.
In Clayton's PE class, you hear that?
Yeah.
Bro, you can ask Quentin, dude. There were kids who literally 100%, like, you would never see them try ever in school, in anything. They were the kid that was always asleep in the corner. If they were in my PE class, though, they were getting lit. Like, they were ready to go, dude. They'd get up. You get the quiet kid going. I was like, dude, this is what we're here for.
They said that you basically ran the class, and they were like telling the story from their perspective. You'd be walk in and be like, "What are we doing today, coach?" Like you ran it.
Oh yeah, dude. It was that. I would always walk in. I'd ask, "What are we doing today?" He'd give me something like he'd be like, "Oh, I'm thinking we'll do this today." And I'm like, "Nah, come on, let's do this." So I'd always talk him into a sport everyone was down for. So like he'd want to do like pickleball. We're like, we did like pickleball last week. Come on, let's do like a football or basketball or something. Everyone will enjoy it. Then we can get back into pickleball. And I do that like every day to get us to play sports that everyone wanted to actually participate in. Like, dude,
I remember one time going in there and like watching him. You were going hard at badminton. Like I came in there for like to give someone a note or something, and I see Clayton just like like hitting that little piece of paper. It's like going.
Hey, bro, it's called a shuttlecock. Thank you very much.
Shuttlecock.
Yep, shuttlecock, and it went hard because the thing is, like, I also realized, like, the PE coaches give the dumb sports. If you try in the dumb sports, you'll get to play the fun sports. So it's like, dude, you don't think I was talking crap to the coach, like, getting ready? Like, oh, I'll whoop you in this. Like, too easy. And he's like, oh, I've been playing this for 15 years. I'm like, wow, well, cool. You're, like, 30 years older than me. I will take you to the cleaners on this.
How's it feel to suck for 15, old man?
Mm-hmm.
God.
You think I'm losing this badminton tournament? Give me the worst kid in class. I don't care. He can stand on the sidelines. I got this, baby.
And it's like the other thing that they brought up, these old high school kids. They were like the parents were confused at why there was so much applause for a PE award. They were like, this is a thing.
Bro, so we laugh about it. So guess what I actually have hanging in the room?
Oh my God.
The PE award, baby. Mm-hmm. Proudest possession right there.
And then
that's like,
oh, he's getting it down.
No, I already grabbed it, bro. That's what that medal was, homie.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, bro. Go ahead.
That's the thing he looks at. Like, everybody has their ritual, you know. Some people it's a song. I have my calendar. Clayton like just deep breath and looks at the award.
Dude,
feels fired up again.
Like, literally everyone in high school has that one play in football. Bro, I got that. I got that PE award, okay? Anyone can play football and get a letterman, okay? Only one person a year gets that PE award.
Hey, that's actually, hey, you want to talk about supplying a man and rarity.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny, dude. And that's funny what you brought up, that like they're all labeled something different. So the state thinks that you're like this advanced outdoor adventures. What do you think we're doing? You think we're going in the field? Like, where do you think we're going?
What gets me is it's not hard to actually understand that obviously it's a lie, because it's like, dude, okay, if it's outdoor adventures, why do you have freshmen taking this class if it's a year 3 or 4 class? It's not hard to discover that was a lie.
Oh, yeah, it was labeled that depending on the period or block. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, like, it's all the same thing.
Well, I mean, if you're ever in the forest and you come across a shuttlecock, we know what you're
Mm-hmm, I'll break some branches off, tie some yarn and stuff.
With the shuttlecock, he's like fighting a bear by like pinging shuttlecocks at it.
Oh, bro.
Dude, when I remember before getting to high school, like all the talk of like credits, I thought they were like Xbox achievements, because that was the only thing I could relate it to. I thought, like, if you take powerlifting, you have to bench a certain amount. You unlock a credit, and now that's one towards graduation. And like, I'm like thinking of it like that, like, oh my gosh, like what if like I take art and like I have to do these certain sculptures? Like, I thought it was an achievement system, and I'm like, what if I could graduate by year 2 by just burning through these achievements? Like, why call it a credit?
I mean, to be honest, it's just checking a box. It is a weird term to have for it.
And they're like, you need this many to graduate. And it's like, you realize I have to take more classes than that. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because my senior year, I only took like one class repeated 4 times after my core classes. It was the same class just repeated. So I did nothing after 12, but yearbook.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's just always checking a box. It never really matters. Like, that's the thing too, is they say like it's credits and stuff like that. What always gets me is when it's like, oh, you're taking college level courses. Every single time you hear the same story over and over. Yep, took all that in high school, but none of the credits transferred over. Because if you're taking those classes, you're ending up in that upper, like, what is it, 10%? So it's like you're getting accepted to whatever college you want. So you're picking a high-end college. And guess what? High-end college is like, yeah, those credits don't mean anything because you got them from some random dude who came into your school who was apparently qualified to teach it.
Dude, and that is, maybe it's getting you ready for the workforce. Hey, what boxes we got to check here, man? this, and this. Some people get it, some people don't.
Bureaucracy.
Well, the best part is though, like they get you to pay for those things.
Well, so the college courses are actually like sourced through other colleges. Like the ones out Pareto were Hill.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but like let's be honest.
It wasn't just random people.
Let's be honest though, if you were like, that's what I'm saying. Like
the Craigslist ad.
It makes sense. It makes sense for someone like me to take a class like that as to where I was at as a student. So it's like, dude, yeah, let's be honest. I'm not going to a big university. I'm probably, if I go to college, will be a community college. But the people who are always in those classes, it's like, dude, you're getting a high-end university. So it's a waste of time.
Like Baylor, don't take that.
Yeah, Baylor's like, no, we don't care what podunk college taught you these things. We got to reteach you because you are not getting away with that at Baylor. We have standards.
They look at where you went, and they're like, we're surprised you even figure out how to open the door to get in here. Yeah, I see what you're saying with that. It's like, yeah.
Dude, such a waste of time. It never made sense to me, dude. I'm just surprised you still run into... I think it's funny, you run into more people who we went to high school with than I do. And you didn't even graduate with us or anything.
Dude, it was there. I was like, I ran into one. I was like, he's like, yeah, just working, picking up extra shifts. And I ran into another, and I was like, bro, is everybody here? And then they introduced me to the third guy. He's like, I was a grade below y'all, but I know Clayton. And that's how like we went down that rabbit hole, And then we just went down all of the rabbit holes of like, apparently there's like there's like two guys who got famous out of there. They're like Instagram famous and YouTube famous.
No idea.
Yeah, well, I looked him up after I left. I mean, I could say his name because he's YouTube famous. Taylor Holder. I looked him up after I left. He has like 1 million subscribers. I was like, what?
That sounds familiar.
I never knew the kid.
I know that.
I never knew the kid.
I'd have to see a picture.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know this kid. I guess he was a grade below or something.
I mean, good for him. Like, I don't have a problem with that. That's just weird to think.
That's cool, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, someone from our class, I don't think I can say his name because I don't know if he's technically... I mean, he's almost there. I would consider him famous, but, the dude, singer...
Yeah.
I don't know what we can say on here, but
he's on the show.
Yeah. Dude, and he is, he's probably going to be something in the next few years. I would not doubt it. I've heard him on the radio. So
yeah, I mean, it's talent and stuff like that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not gonna good
That's
for
awesome,
you,
bro.
but...
I think it's cool.
I mean, it's cool, but
I was like, what?
Like we discussed that one week.
It makes you feel.
Like, there's a healthy level of like jealousy. Like, good for you, bro. Like, sorry, music career. Let's be honest. I'm not musically talented. That wasn't even gonna happen. I could have spent my whole life studying music. It just wouldn't have happened. I'm a white boy with no rhythm.
Well, no, yeah, I'm not really that aspect of it,
but yeah, I mean,
more the aspect of like being like famous or whatever. Like, I think that's really cool. Like, whoa, dude, like those people that, like years later, they're like, oh man, I went to high school with, I don't know, dude.
I'd rather
like Andy Samberg or Adam Sandler or something. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? You never know who people are going to turn out to be. It's like, that's kind of cool.
I mean,
like,
it's cool,
I grew up around that kid. Like, that's interesting.
My thing is, like, it's weird when people say it as if it's like an achievement of like, yeah, I went to high school with Adam Sandler. And it's like, dude,
that's weird.
You're not Adam Sandler.
You didn't do anything.
You just happened to be there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I'd rather be the other guy.
I'd definitely rather be the guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy.
I don't mean it as that. Yeah.
But I see, and I see what you're saying though. It is like, whoa, like I went to school with that kid.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's cool to think about.
I think it's a healthy level, and it is a healthy level of like, okay, we came from the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
To me, it gives me like the idea of like, man, I could do it too. We came from, you know 100%. What I mean?
And it doesn't even have to be that. And it doesn't have to be that level. Like, there's people that inspire me that I went to school with. Dude, the girl who does my tattoos, that's insanely inspiring to me because she's living the life she wants to live.
Yep.
She want to be a tattoo artist, so that's what she's doing. And that's as simple as that.
Bro.
And I'm like, you don't understand how much that motivates me. Like, oh my gosh.
I hate that we can't say names, but our other buddy, who's a photographer, filmer now, he is inspiring to me. Like that, he followed his dream no matter what, and he never stopped, no matter what people said. And he's there, bro. Like he's doing what he wants to do. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I told him he inspired me, man. Yeah, like I think that'd be someone good to have on one day. But yeah,
I really want to have him on.
We stay in touch every now and then. He'll he hits me up for stuff. Like kind of like he hit me up the other day. I was like, hey man, I do watch your YouTube. Blah blah blah. I do like it. I was like, oh thanks, man. But yeah, dude, that guy's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the same thing with Devin. Like, I don't care what you do as long as you're like happy and it's what you want to do. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're famous or not. It's more inspiring me to see someone live out their dream. Like if your dream is to be famous and you do that, that's really great for you. But what doesn't inspire me about it is the fact that you're famous. It's about the fact that you're getting to live your dream. Like you didn't let anything stop you. That's the inspiring part to me.
That's a good point, man. And that's going back to the music guy. He achieved that through his dream, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't know about the Instagram, YouTube. I don't know what he does, but I don't remember that. I have to see a picture, but
I just feel
like I don't
know.
Like what was the name? He's famous. We can look him up, right? What was his name?
Taylor Holder.
Like, that sounds so familiar. But I mean, either way, I don't want to sit there and look it up. But like, it's cool. It's cool to know that someone built something for themselves. But I mean, it's just not my achievement, and it's not for me. It's like it being Instagram famous. Like, dude, that does not like. Is it cool that like you have name recognition? But like, what do we consider Instagram famous? You know what I mean? There's people who have like 1,200 followers, and they're like, I'm an influencer. You know what I mean? So like, what are we gauging it as? Like,
so it's funny because
a million subscribers on YouTube, like, cool, makes sense. I see that, like, you probably actually really do have recognition. Like, if you were to go places, there is an actual chance you get recognized. But like, Instagram model or something like that, or Instagram influencer, but it really isn't that big, but you consider yourself it. You know what I mean?
What's whenever Instagram considers you it?
Well, okay, and here's the funny thing, and I watched a documentary on this, and I made a video about it. I haven't edited yet, but the point is, there's like several thousand people, like I think it's in the tens of thousands of people that have at least 1 million followers on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So they pose the question at the very beginning is like, what do we consider it? Because tens of thousands of people have 1 million followers.
Mm-hmm.
So at what level is it? You know, and then also the documentary dives into like, it's called Fake Famous on HBO. It's pretty legit, but it's like, can you hack the algorithm? What are you chasing type thing? Because what the documentary does, and this is so freaking cool. They take 3 people, like, we're going to make you fake famous. So they have a girl, she's all in. They have like a white girl, a gay guy, and a black guy. The gay guy gets freaked out because he starts getting anxious because what they do, they start buying followers for him, for all 3 of them, and buying likes because you can buy all this stuff. And he gets nervous and gets anxious because people will start like calling him out on it, like in his DMs, like, I see what you're doing. All these Russian bots commenting on your stuff, liking your stuff. I see, and like it was freaking him out, like the level of what he was doing. But anyway, the girl was the most successful. It was Dominique Druckmann, I think. I ended up following her because it's like a social experiment thing I like to witness. They just kept buying her fake followers, and then they would fake photo shoots. You know, like it would look like they were on a plane. All they did was go down to Walmart, buy a $12 toilet seat, so it looks like the frame, and then like on their TV they put up a sky, and they take a photo of it. It was like everything was faked. And then, but they bought her so many followers that she got thrown into the algorithm, and brands started reaching out to her, just giving her free stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
just by faking it there.
It's super interesting, but like that stuff's been like, I mean, there's always a story of that coming out. Like in, I think it's California, you can rent a set for a private jet to make it look like you're on a private jet with your friends for Instagram photos and stuff like that. And you can rent out a session for it.
What?
They go there too. Yep. it opened my mind, because it was like, this is why all these private photos look the same, or private jet photos look the same on the inside. It's the same fake private jet.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's stuff that people do, and it's like, dude, I mean, it's weird to me that that's a thing. Like, knowing that it's a thing, but people still fall for it. It's like, it's one of the reasons why I hate social media is it's like, you literally look at it and you start comparing yourself to everyone that's on it. And it's like, dude, stop being concerned with what everyone else is doing and be concerned with what you're doing.
I can say very confidently, like, because I haven't used Facebook since I was like 16, 17. I have one, but it's there in cyberspace. And then, like, so when I went from my Samsung to my iPhone, I lost my password for my like original Instagram that had like people I actually know, like Devin and like people I know, whatever. So I made a new one. I haven't followed anyone. I think my mom's followed me, but all I followed is like cryptos or IGN or like things I actually care to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
My mindset is much more positive.
Yep.
Not looking at these people that have these unrealistic like lifestyles, you know what I mean? Like, dude, even though I know, like, oh, this is just what it is. Still getting on and looking at it every day, it can still mess with you. Like,
well, dude, it was the same thing for me. Like, for a while there, like, I wasn't on any social medias, but like I had them. I had the ability to get in. It took me finally full severing the link and just deleting all of it. Once all that stuff is deleted, dude, you don't realize it, but you do feel like a weight lifted off of you. It takes a while to seep in, but not being on social media is not having the access whatsoever. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, I'm not on it, but you still have it, and you maybe get on it every once in a while, but you can lie to yourself that you don't. But once it's full deleted, dude, you feel so much better. Like, there's just this, like, weight that's lifted, and you don't realize it till it's gone.
Yeah.
And like, it is funny what you say about you can change your feed at any time. Because I went through and purged my Instagram like 2 months ago of like, I mean, yeah, you can change your feed at any time. Like, I changed it to things that are more relevant to me now at this age. And it's like, yeah, but, and it does affect your mindset, like you're saying, because you're going to spend 3 to 5 hours on it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, to think it's like you're above it is like, no. It's like, if you're going to spend that much time on it, you're going to see that and it's going to get implanted in you. And, it being fake, and it's like, that is the question. Is like, so why are you chasing it if it's fake?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other part of the documentary is that these influencers, they go on photo tours. They get on a bus, they drive, they find a good scene, and they're like, all right, ladies, off the bus. And then everybody's just taking as many photos as they can. They're like, all right, back on the bus, change outfits, next stop, next stop, next stop. And it's all this work put into being an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things to it, because it's like, I think most people think like they don't do anything, and then like you just kind of argue about what's work, what's not work, because they have to daily post 3 to 5 times a day, and then they have to negotiate with brands all day.
I mean, I don't think it's like not work. Like, I think it's work.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely have to put an effort in. It's just one of those works that's like just kind of not respected. You know what I mean? Like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, like, you can look at it from the stance of like, oh, it's a hustle, but there's still that part of you that's like, but it's not a real job. It's not real work. You know what I mean? Like, even though you like realize that it's a hustle and they're putting work in, you just don't respect it for some reason. There's just this stigma around it.
To me,
I don't know if it's just, do you think it's like a level of jealousy?
Yeah, I could see a level of jealousy to it. But I mean, dude, social media is just not all that for me. So it's like the idea of being like Instagram famous, that lifestyle of like, let me run around, show everyone how great my life is. Like, dude, nah, my life is a life. It's just like yours. Like, why run around and try to convince everyone it's different?
Yeah.
Well, because like, I mean, that's a form of it. But I think like with convincing somebody else your life is awesome. Like, some people need to be, their self-worth is how cool they think other people think they are. But the other thing is like, you're never going to live someone else's life. Until we can upload consciousness And even then, like if you can try consciousness on, like in the future, like I could download Elon Musk or I could be Eminem for a few minutes. I imagine it would feel exactly the same as I feel now. You would be that person and you'd be like, this is awesome. Oh, they have their own insecurities too. Oh, they're not happy with where they're at too. Okay, cool. Like, what am I doing? You know? And then like, I don't like how different could someone else's life be? Because what are we doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, like, consciousness-wise, you kind of get in the argument, too, of, like, when it comes to consciousness, what do you really label it as? You know what I mean? Because, like, are you going to be able to truly experience that consciousness? Because it's not yours, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, are you, like, if you're Elon, are you going to have, like, 50 different ideas in an hour?
Yeah, or are you just going to be the
from
same
Eminem,
you?
you're just going to be, like, thinking of all these rhymes. Or, yeah, is it just you thinking you're them?
Yeah, like, what, you know what I mean? It's a weird question to be asked. I'm glad that you kind of got what I was saying because I don't feel like I was getting it across really well. But, I mean, dude, are you actually even going to really experience them? Are you able to truly experience someone else's thoughts? Because if so, like, would you even be able to take that back with yourself?
Yeah, that'd be scary because it could get weaponized.
Yeah,
you know,
very true.
I could invade someone's mind and be like, you can't have those thoughts. What are you doing? That's the thought crime thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And the other thing with the influencer thing, too, is like, look, if that's what you want to do, if you want to be like an influencer, whatever, right? But I think the other thing that people don't think about is that, like, are you prepared to be an influencer until you're 60?
Yeah,
like
like
are you
how
prepared
short is the ride?
Are you prepared to, like, you know, do pranks and jump around and try to get back on the algorithm forever? Or what's like is there a long game? And I'm like, you know what I mean? Because like some people branch off to do other stuff. Like they'll start a podcast and they already have an audience of 3 million, so it's going to do fine. Or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's like the argument of
business.
It's trying to stay relevant, but like if you look at like for me, it's like old gaming YouTube because that's what I used to watch. Like when Call of Duty was big, there are so many people who were in that scene and were huge in that scene that didn't work the job and realized that one day it wasn't going to be there. So it seems like every bit of advice from those YouTubers, like you look at like Philip DeFranco and stuff like that, their bit of advice to anyone who's like new to YouTube and is huge on it is always the same. Treat it as if it's not going to be there one day. Like, save your money. Don't make stupid purchases. Don't do that because one day it could all be gone and now you don't have anything to show for it. It's all gone. And that's why I think it was great when like Philip DeFranco like branched off, like he made his own like news organization, like he built an actual company around it. Like, yes, he has his main focus of YouTube, but he also has a news network behind him that he's kind of building out, where he's got other people working for him and going and getting stories and doing deep dives on stories and stuff like that. It's not just him.
I think the other side of it too is that, you know, he's not, you know, jumping around doing smack cams, you know, doing social experiments. He can talk about current events forever if he absolutely wants to. You know what I mean? Like he's been doing it over 10 years, I believe, at this point.
Yeah.
Because I was watching him in junior high, and he was already like big when I was in junior high.
Oh, dude, he's considered one of the old men of YouTube, like one of the YouTube godfathers.
Godfather.
Like, like when you get big, they pull you in a room. He's on one of the thrones. But yeah, like, and you get filled in. But, but like, yeah, like that's just like he probably could do that forever if he wants to, or he's, you know, maybe he has his other ventures, you know. But that's the thing. Like to state he's forever, it's like a podcast. It's always current events, you know. And sometimes they do those short series podcasts.
So I mean, you're saying, like, can people be influencers forever? Like, it's that hard? Like, to me, it's the same thought process of, can you be a basketball player forever, a football player? Can you be a boxer forever? You have to be realistic and know, like, I have to put some money away. I mean, like, I love log creations. Ross, I mean, I think he's awesome. He can't do that forever. Probably eventually he's going to get, I mean, I don't know, like 50 years old walking around doing pranks, but I mean, I'm sure he's going to put money away to set himself, you know.
I feel like that's a burnout thing that happens, but like, dude, being like 60 and an influencer, like, don't get me wrong.
My point is they probably won't do it. They'll probably be retired, just like a football player or a boxer or something like
here's
that.
the thing that I would almost argue that you could keep going on it, right? Because by the time you've gotten to that age, the tastes have changed. You know what I mean? Because like you still have like old ladies and stuff who are like, we all think like, oh, that's really gaudy, but all their friends have it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still a scene to be there, and if you can hold the community and grow that with you, I think you could do influencing at an older age. You're just doing different products. You know what I mean? But I don't know if you can run your body like that and have that insane schedule once you get to that age. Like, you're gonna be so burned out.
It'd be more like vlogging. Like Periscoping
and I think
what's
weird. It's like I think an influencer. I guess the way I'm thinking about it is like always the current trend. I don't think you can. Like you're like people kind of see the shtick, you know, and it gets old. I think if you're being authentic, yes, because the people just don't get tired of you. I guess maybe if you're a trend chaser, no, it gets old. I mean. And it happens to anybody who has like a shtick. If you don't get out of the shtick once you get big, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Like who was that guy that did the Five Nights at Freddy videos?
Oh my god, PewDiePie,
Markiplier.
No, Markiplier. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's still famous, but his videos were irritating.
No, he's still big.
He's still famous.
He's still big. He's still got a good community around him and stuff like that. He's the scare, like if you're looking for like a scary games, like that's what you're into. That's what he does. He's not playing a bunch of like hot topic games. He's playing like random scary games that he's found, and he does that.
So he turned into his skid. Mm-hmm. He turned into his skid, and he made it work for him.
But even then, if that's something that you enjoy, like, because like that's it. I feel like he genuinely enjoys doing that, so that works for him. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I see what you're saying.
If you're chasing that trend of like YouTube clickbait of like, this is what's hot right now, like Fortnite's super hot. Okay, I'm in Fortnite. Oh no, okay, now it's, you know, whatever, some RPG is really big now, and now they're jumping into an RPG, which you can tell they don't like RPGs because they have no idea how they work whatsoever, and you can just tell. Like, you can see those people and kind of understand, like, it's just not for you. You're just chasing it for the money. You're not chasing it because you genuinely enjoy it.
Makes sense.
I think I wouldn't even say switching a game genre. I think if it's like the real, like if it was like, you know, today we're doing the pickle juice in your eye challenge. Then we're going Fortnite next week. Fortnite's not hot anymore. For some reason, free running came back. We're gonna do free running today. Mm-hmm. You know, like that type of like, whatever is in like the top right now is what we're going to do, and trying to stay relevant that way. Pranks getting more extreme, just getting dumber, you know what I mean? In like a bad way. Like the stunts have to get so over the top to try to stay relevant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like holding up a bank with masks on and guns. It's a prank, bro. It's a prank.
Well, it's like
exactly.
It's the same thing though. Like we can bring up like counter argument though of like it has to end at some point, right? Like think about Mr. Beast. Like, no one thought that model was gonna be sustainable. Of hey, I'm gonna do huge giveaways, stupid things with my friends that are really insane challenges and give stupid amount of money away. Everyone looked at that and they're like, dude, there's no way this is sustainable. Like, when are you going to take the payout? But he managed to make it into something.
Something big, bro. Really big. Mm-hmm. And he has other companies on the side, too.
Now, granted, he's not like...
There you go.
He's not just chasing, you know, what trend it is, but it's kind of that idea of, like, how long can you do it for... Like, he's never really had, like, a jump the shark moment, from what I can tell.
Well, I don't think he's chasing it for the money. Mr. Beast, like, he's very genuine. He's very down-to-earth guy. I mean, he's he's doing what he enjoys. He's helping people and he's having fun with the people he loves. Like that's literally all his videos have been since the beginning. Even when like tipping the pizza guy $100 has now changed to like, you know, hey, I gave this guy
Tipping him the house.
a house.
Yeah, he gave the
or
pizza
something.
guy a house or whatever.
Yeah, ridiculous. But that's just what he liked. That's what, you know, that's his passion.
Now
Dude,
there's like
that
that's like
video was
it's
insane.
funny. Like, wealth starts generating more, and like now it's like a like you know what I mean. Like the pizza guys are like, bro, last guy gave me a house. You know what I mean? And now there's like a charitable flex, and it's like bro, you only gave him like a Lincoln Town car. I got him a GT. Like there's like all these like charitable flexes.
I feel like Mr. Beast could start that. Maybe that's what he's
That
trying
would
to
be
do.
bad.
That
would be horrible.
He would need
Dude, you can't, dude. I've seen donation shaming on my social media. You only donated this much, and you're worth this much. I'm like, okay, now you're gonna drive people away from donating.
Yeah, that's the thing that happens. But like, dude, the only way I think that happens where it becomes that sustainable of like chasing that of like, oh wow, you only gave him a Lincoln Town car. Like he would need like a rival YouTube channel to blow up doing similar things. But like, honestly, he's got the market cornered. Nobody's doing what he's doing. But I mean, it's insane. Like, I don't understand the logic behind shaving people for donations, because I remember when that happened, when I forget what it was. It was something with the pandemic. Someone donated and immediately everyone was like, why did you donate to this cause instead of this cause? You're so heartless. Or like for the communities, like some people took their warehouses and instead of doing merch, they did merch, but it was masks. And they're like, hey, I'm going to give all the proceeds to this. And everyone would just be upset by it for some reason. Or just the idea of like, oh, hey, you know, we're making masks for people because it's helpful. And it's like, yeah, but you're charging us for it.
People always have to find a problem with something unless they're benefiting from it.
Mm-hmm. I forget who I think it was Cat Williams who said there might be bugs on the rest of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Like that's kind of the mindset you have to have of like, dude, doesn't matter how upset everyone else is, they're always gonna find a problem with it. So you just gotta understand there might be bugs on them, but there ain't no bugs on me.
Bro, I remember talking to hopefully our other buddy. I don't know, I can't say his name, but about if there was like some sort of law to make it to where grocery stores, all their food that they throw away, like to send it to food banks, whatever your newest food bank is. When I worked at the one down in Burleson, dude, I was only there for like 3 or 4 months. The produce got sent to a farm for animals. All right, that makes sense. We're recycling this stuff. We can't eat it, but they can. Dude, our manager would give us bags of cookies, rice, macaroni, all these sorts of dry foods because they were 1 day expired. We can't sell it. FDA ruled. But I was like, why can't there be a law to send all that stuff to a food bank? Because they literally threw it in the trash. They're like, y'all take what you want, and the rest is going in the trash.
Yeah, because
my buddy brought up the point, what y'all are saying about the charitable donations thing. He was like, people are going to be like, oh, you're going to give them expired food? You're going to give the homeless people expired food? Wow, dude, they're not good enough for regular food?
It's not only that. It's also the fact that you leave that company open, like to lawsuits and stuff like that. There's a reason why they can't.
But it would just be a donation. There would be no ties. It's just like, here's a bunch of free food.
You know,
that's
like,
dumb
and then
to me. Like,
in addition to that law, we cannot sue for any free something of that nature.
Well,
the
argument too is like it's expired. Like there's a reason why
I ate it. I took it all home. I think we all ate it and played D&D that night. Like,
yeah, that's
at your own personal liberty. You chose to. You were not forced.
At your own personal liberty, you go to those soup kitchens and you go get food.
That's the
You're
argument.
not forced to go there.
No.
Payday.
So that's the argument against it. You're saying they're not forced to go there. They are. They are forced to go there because they don't have a meal to eat. You know what I mean?
Well, they're not dragged there, though.
You get what I'm saying? Like
that's what I was saying. It's free. It's still your free will. You may be forced at hand, like I have no other choice, but But I'm saying 100% force. You're not forced to go there.
Yeah.
Maybe we start it like, hey, this is the expired food bank.
I just no.
Come
I
on
think it's
in,
a great
eat all the
idea.
expired food you want.
Dude,
I-
you could eat
you
expired
sign a waiver.
hamburger
You
helper
sign a
for
waiver.
years.
I get your argument, but it's like, dude, no, because like, yes, you're like, oh, it's charity shaming, but at the same time, when something's expired like that, the FDA and everything like that says, okay, that is no longer fit for human consumption. It's not like they blatant.
It really doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say sometimes it really doesn't matter, bro. Like, I could eat some stale cereal or some stale chips if I'm really about to die from hunger. Like, to me,
There
it's
would
like
be
a
a lot of-
humanity problem. Like, why?
Yeah, there's a lot of red tape to get through to make the expired food kitchen work because of this law and then this law and then this. And then you also are going to have companies that don't want to deal with that law. And then also, let's be real, even though they already paid for the food that they're throwing away, they're going to be like, how does this help us turn a profit? How do we know that people aren't just going to tank our store, not buy food, and go to your expired food kitchen and eat it for free?
Instead of digging it out the dumpster out back.
It opens up too many cans of worms. That's why it's like, I understand like why we can't do it. It just opens up too many cans. Like, it's not worth the amount of risk that would come up and the problems that it would cause.
Right. It's one of those, we should, but it's dang near impossible. Yeah, we should. I don't disagree. But, yeah, all the red tape. Yeah. Because somebody's going to be like, how do we turn a profit off this? It's like, some things you don't. Some things you just don't.
Nope. Sorry, sir. You were wrong when it comes to my capitalist vision. Okay?
I ain't working for free.
You've just failed Business 101. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. You're no longer allowed back. Yeah.
Bro.
Expired food kitchen. No, I agree.
So what did y'all like? I know you watched it, Devin. Did you see it, Quentin?
The Alex Jones?
Yeah, we can jump into Alex Jones. I was thinking the GeoGuessr, but yeah, we could do.
I actually didn't get to watch that one. I only watched the Alex Jones one.
Okay, so either way, let's talk about the Alex Jones one.
I mean, I don't know. It was just like a minute, and then he was really dramatic at the beginning, which obviously leads me to think it wasn't leaked.
Is it
guys, I just can't take it anymore.
So like,
is it like in cahoots with this other person, or is this person trying to get clout off of Alex Jones, or are they working together to both get clout?
So
I would say together.
Here's my perspective on it, because when I first saw it, I was like, the acting in it, I was like, this just seems so fake. Then I'm like, okay, this is Alex Jones. And I'm like, I don't actually think it's fake. Here's my thing. I think it's real, but I think it's out of context is what I think it really is. Because it's like, oh, yeah, he says he's so sick of Trump. Okay. In the video, it says like, yeah, y'all asked a really good question. Okay. And I want to answer that question. I think it's so clearly that it was out of context, and it wasn't in the sense that they're trying to paint it as of like, oh, I hate Trump. That's what he does. I think it's more of like, I'm tired of talking about this. We've talked enough about this today, and I don't want to involve it in every one of my answers to the questions you give me.
That honestly makes so much sense.
We're seeing the back half out of context that makes it seem like he's just all over it. But I'm like, clearly that's not the context of it.
Bro, I picture him like the guy asking the questions. I'm so sick of Trump. So tired of talking about Trump. Why are you always asking me these questions?
I don't think it's that. I think that Alex is answering the question and going to a certain degree on it, but he tied it into Trump, and then he's like, all right, hold on, give me a minute. I want this whole documentary to be about Trump, because I was reading on it because I was like, all right, I saw the clip. I'm like, all right, let me look into this, because my initial reaction was, this is clearly fake. Like, this just seems too staged. It can't be real. Mm-hmm. And as I'm looking at it, and I'm reading, it is 100% the person who launched that documentary where that footage is from. It was from some propaganda film is what the article called it. I'm like, okay, this seems a little bit too leading. I don't know if this is unbiased, but they're 100% taking the side of the person who gave them the stuff. And they're like, yeah, and he's got text messages about it. And I'm like,
has the documentary been released yet?
I haven't watched the documentary. I literally just looked at it. So I was like, okay, it was something.
If it's been released or not, actually, either way, now you want to watch it.
It's about because that footage is from January 2019, and it was some documentary filmed in Austin, and it just seemed like it was like Alex seemed like, in the context of it, it seemed like Alex more wanted to, from what I could gauge from looking at it without any real true evidence to it, it seemed more that Alex was trying to be in this kind of right-wing conspiracy theorist thought process, but didn't want it to all about being like, oh, the cowbell for Trump and why Trump's so great. While Alex was more of, no, I just want people to be aware of all this stuff. Not everything I say has to tie into Trump. Stop making it tie into Trump.
I think what I'm getting at is it not just drumming up traffic for the documentary?
I think it is.
You know what I mean?
I don't think Alex is a willing participant in it.
That's fine. Yeah, but yeah, I'm like, if the guy who filmed it is doing this, I'm like,
yeah, I think it was just a hit piece.
You know what I mean? I'm like, he's like, I got to get some controversy because after watching the clip, I'm like, well, now I want to see the documentary, even though that part's not in it. I'm like, I want to see it now. So I mean, yeah, it's like that's like a long, drawn out way to get it done.
I'm just interested to kind of see what comes of it because I'm ready to see Alex swing back because he's going to.
I mean, dude, okay, all it takes is one episode of him being hammered right before the camera rolls, and he's like, that was a play we took it out of context, and this is why. It literally, it's not going to be like some big beef of like Alex Jones claps back, and it's like an hour of him breaking it down. He's just gonna be like, he's going to do his thing. Probably already is tonight in Austin filming it as we speak. But yeah, or if he hasn't already, it's kind of late.
Bro, what's crazy though is
what can you do to get that man canceled or stopped? There's nothing. Okay, he is determined. He's been through so many phases. You ain't stopping him, bro.
So what's funny though is I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's on this podcast that's actually watched one of his big documentaries that he did, Endgame. I'm pretty sure I'm one of the only one that's watched that out of this group. You think Alex is very go at it, go hard, rants, rumble, goes hard. But in that documentary, it's actually funny. He's not that way in the documentary that he did. He doesn't.
What year was that?
It was, I'd have to look it up, but I want to say it was 2008, 2006, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised, dude. dude. In his interviews where he's exposing the Bohemian Grove, he's calm. I mean, he's kind of forthcoming and hey, you did say this did happen, but he's not screaming. And then when my mom used to watch him too. It's literally how I even got exposed to him. He wasn't, you know what I mean? It just kind of you kind of start steering into what gets you attention. You start steering into your thing, and it's it has evolved into he gets in moments of yelling. But yeah, I mean, he, you know what I mean? It's you got to put on a show to some degree. Because I want to see him yell, honestly, at this point.
I mean,
I want to see Adam Sandler yell. I want to see Kanye rant. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to see these things.
It's like the old interviews of Trump from the 80s and 90s. He's he's calm, cool, and collected. He knows he's just here's my answer. His interviews with Larry King, his interviews in the Time magazine or something. I don't know, dude. He's he's got his stuff together, but he's not as outlandish as he is now. But like you said, that's his persona. That's what people like.
Yeah,
dude. I saw when Sacha Baron Cohen was doing his Ali G stuff. He tried to troll Trump. Didn't work. He got him in the room. And he was trying to do his whole shtick, and Trump's terrible idea. And then he's just you know, and he's yeah, that wouldn't work. He's like, do we have any more time? He's like, I'm not doing this. And he's like, keeps trying to keep him in here. And Trump's just like, well, okay, I wish you luck. And just pats him and like walks out. Like, doesn't even get to troll him. Because he's like, I know what's going on. I'm not stupid. Yeah. And that's so funny because you're like, well, he's the idiot. He might know why he's doing that.
Well, there's also like the idea too that like Trump, because dude, that like you got to think all that stuff. Trump was much younger and much more together. So I think it's one, he knows it's a bit of a persona for him to act that way, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of genuinely who he is a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little bit older, a little bit more wild. You know what I mean? He's not playing by the same kind of mental state we are.
That's
and you
true.
can
He was more
become
up
your
and coming
persona.
back then.
Mm-hmm. Like he was still building.
Well, I mean, he's already.
And like,
I mean, he was already super rich. He was like he's a celebrity entrepreneur. You know what I mean? But like, I think you can also like you become your persona.
Yeah,
you can. If you live it too much, it's just always on, and you're like, okay, this is who I am now.
But I mean, that was always the argument from the people on the side of Trump. Like you said, like, yeah, he was really coherent, really good. Like, obviously knew what was going on. It was always the argument of Trump's playing 3D chess and just none of us can see it. And if you don't think he's a genius, well, guess what? You just don't see what I'm seeing.
So I saw this video today, this guy interviewing Trump supporters from like 3 days ago, and they said that Trump's supposed to be inaugurated March 4th or March 6th or something. And he's supposed to be the 19th president because none of the other elections have been real since the 18th president because something happened back then.
Oh my God.
Dude, but it made me feel like I was insane watching it. Like he was interviewing this lady. He's like, what do you think about January 6th? She's like, what about it? He's like, the insurrection on Capitol. She's like, oh, that wasn't us. That was the Democrats. That was Antifa. They made it look like us. That definitely wasn't us. He's like, but they all had Trump supporters. They were made to look like us. They were definitely not us. We would never do that. Almost everyone said that. And they were 100% like, that's what it is. And then there's one guy, he was like, no, that wasn't us. He was like, well, what about the arrest records? He's like, I don't believe that. He's like, but there's records. He's like, that's just not true. And they were serious. Like, what? Like, it made me feel crazy. Like, they came from a Trump rally to the Capitol. Like, I'm like, how did the Democrats put him in the rally? Or like, what?
I mean, did they not? Are they not planning there?
But
I mean, who knows?
What?
Go down that again.
Here's my thing.
But we could.
It made me feel crazy, bro. I was like, there just wasn't us. That was you. That was. And even like the guy from the Proud Boys, like he's like, there will be more violence with Biden and stuff, but they're just like, no,
nah, dude,
that
us.
wasn't us.
It's this is what always bothers me about it is it's always just like, nah, that was the Democrats. Okay, well, if Trump is so smart, so ingenious, how come he couldn't figure that out? Like, why would he allow it to happen then? If he's this mega genius playing like 3D and 4D chess, like, how come he didn't see this being a possibility? And then on top of that too, like, do you really think that when the Proud Boys first started, the Democrats were like, we're going to infiltrate this group, we're going to use it on this president who's not been elected yet or even talked about in the political sphere? It's like, dude, it's just so much mental gymnastics to try to make the pieces make sense. Like, why can you not admit and just say, like, yes, there were radicals? Like, every group has radicals. It happens.
That's what makes me feel crazy. Is just like, there's so many people, even my grandparents, who I consider like very, like, they stopped watching Fox. Dude, they are hardcore. Like, Fox is their news source. They stopped watching Fox after they announced the electoral votes in Biden's favor. They're like, it's fake news. I'm like, how does what? Like, that doesn't, I don't understand. Where does that logic come from? And that's scary. I just can't. It makes me feel crazy. It really does.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's like, but you got to think they're thinking the same thing about us thinking that way of like, how are you this dumb and not seeing it? You know what I mean?
Yes, and I'm really trying.
It's just you're in too deep to know. You know what I mean? Like, you're in too deep.
The best way to settle it is to get on Facebook and argue.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Dude, my stuff is blowing up about Governor Abbott right now, and I'm just like, this is funny to watch.
Bro, what's funny to me is
What do you think? I'm indifferent. Just funny to watch y'all.
Like, I just don't care. Like, them removing that, like, the mask mandate, whatever, bro. It's just whatever to me.
We're prolific, okay? And we are prolific. We talked about masks last time. It changed. We talked about the VR killing people. Dude, just announced today, Doom VR.
Hey,
Well,
no, so
we are prolific. The cabal is watching us.
bro.
Okay?
They are, dude.
So pretty soon, next week, expired food bank, $1 million idea.
I mean, if only they would, deal with the crypto the way that we want to. Like, that would be great. Oh, well and good. I'll be whatever kind of shill you want, bro. I'll sell out. I don't care. Here, money behind it, I'll do whatever.
They don't have their hands in crypto. It's crypto. That's why it's crypto.
But, like, I don't know.
Like, they say we talk about keep changing the next week, and I'm like, what is this?
Dude, it's
collective
ridiculous.
Consciousness.
But, bro, so the thing that I love about Doom is the fact that, like, the group that made Doom, they're like, well, Doom's so violent. And they're like, yeah, but you don't understand. We can still market it to, like, hardcore Christians, because what are you doing? You're killing demons, and demons are the bad guys. And I'm like, I hate that it's like, obviously you don't really believe that, but you understand that that's how that works.
Yeah, we used to play that at Sunday school. Yeah, you're killing demons in hell, in some sense.
This is what you do in the rapture.
Sometimes you're in space.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
Left behind. Bro,
I love it.
Dude.
I just think it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is so weird. So and then here's the other funny thing about, speaking of like random outrage, the Mr. Potato Head thing.
Oh yeah.
It's not actually like, it's if you get past the headline, you're like, oh, nobody even read this. They just took the name off of the box. They don't call it Mr. Potato Head. It's still Mr. Potato Head. They just changed the name on the box to Potato Family, because it'll come with 2 potatoes and a baby potato, and whatever you do with it's up to you. If there's 2 Mr. Potatoes and a baby, whatever. If there's 2 Mrs. Potatoes and a baby, whatever.
So what you're telling me,
they didn't actually remove Mr. Potato from it. They just took it off the top of the box.
So what you're telling me is that obviously it was left-wing outrage culture. Just going.
Well, there is that. That was more right.
Mr. Potato.
There was outrage, like he lost his gender.
Yeah, that they're just calling it like Potato Head.
Yeah, they lost his gender.
So yeah, the way the article makes it seem, like Devin explained, like it's literally just they're calling it Potato Family now. The marketing, but like the way the article is written is like, oh my god,
the headline, just the headline,
changing everything. It's not even Mr. Potato Head anymore because it's offensive. In actuality, it's just like, no, we're just literally changing it. It's a different pack now. It can be Mr. Potato Head if you want. We don't really care.
Yeah, it can be Mr. They Head, Mr. They Sure Head, whatever. Well, I guess that wouldn't be a Mr. My bad, it'd be J Head. But yeah, it's to open your mind to whatever else. And then the photo it's two Mr. Potato Heads with a baby. So the outrage comes from the headline: Mr. Potato Head is no longer a Mr. And you read it, and it's like, all we're doing is changing the label on the box. There's still Mr. and Mrs.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
can't be bothered. I must aim my hatred at someone.
My thing
and that's
is,
the funny thing.
Why does it?
We're not mad at Hasbro. You're not mad at Hasbro. They're immediately like, this is because of that side of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What? They're like, what did I do? I was just at home. I'm not on Hasbro's council.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like, dude, why get so upset? Because people got upset. That's like, dude, why do you care? It's a toy that's a potato. Like it's a potato. Like,
dude,
it's a toy. It doesn't.
know.
It's an inanimate object. Why do you care if they call it Mr. or Mrs.? It's an inanimate object. What does it matter?
Dude, some people it really, really bothers.
Well, that's how they get you. It starts with a potato. Next thing you know, boys are wearing skirts. It doesn't.
It's a slippery slope, Devin. I wish you wouldn't come at my side like that.
Dude, yeah, that's just so funny. It's both political spectrum arguments, and it's like literally Hasbro made this decision. Like what? Like, it's like, hey, you're on my Facebook still, and I know you're a lefty, so this is your fault. You know what I mean? And it feels good to complain. So that's why everybody complains. It feels good. It's complain book is what I heard it called today. I was like, yeah.
I mean, it's just like, what? Like, why does it matter? It's like, why do you care about these things? Like, it's just, it's such a non-issue.
So that's some of the good thing. Like, that's some of the good thing about limiting my social media. Like, I only get to use 30 minutes a day. A lot of times when I log in, I'm like, what are we mad about? Why? And then I could just close it. Like, dude, honestly, and this is probably part of me being dumb, I don't know what Proud Boys are. I don't know what Antifa is. I literally don't. And it has not affected my life. I don't know. I genuinely could not explain to you what they are.
It's almost as
I
if
hear it
you
a lot.
don't concern yourself about stupid things that, like, really don't change to your day-to-day. You won't be affected by it. Who'd have thought?
It hasn't. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, I understand. Like, dude, I know who they are. I've looked into it. Do you think at the end of the day I've ever lost sleep over one side doing another thing? No, because I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'm not Antifa. I'm not a Proud Boy. And I'm going to vote how I vote. Like, why would I lose sleep over people who don't share the actual same ideals as me doing something?
They're not allowed to do, because they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And that pisses me off. I genuinely, that's the thing. Like people get so wrapped up in it, and I'm like, think about the other side. People like me, or a lot of people like me, you know what I mean? No idea what it is. Their lives have not changed. It is the same thing. You get down that rabbit hole with celebrities, of course. Like, there's, ask an old person, be like that's a bad example, but random old people be like, hey, what you think about the new Billie Eilish song? They're like, a what? Like, their life doesn't change.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, unless you're like Quentin's mom, dude. Quentin's mom.
What was I say? I was like, this is a bad
dude.
Example because she's into music heavily.
Yeah. Keep up with it.
I always think that's crazy. It's like she's on stuff. She knows more about it than me.
She's more up to trend with music than me. Like, she'll listen to songs. I'm like, who is that? Like,
you haven't heard them?
Dude, yes, that's how she is.
I always loved that. And then she's got her classics too that always rolled through the house. Anytime we were all hanging out and Party was there, she had a few friends over. Oh, it was going wild on that radio inside.
Dude, it still goes wild, and she's by herself. She got a couple beers. She's chilling on a Tuesday.
Dude, that is one of the good
you had a
things
house
about
like
being
that.
old. Yep. That's one of those things, like, when you get to a certain degree of being old enough and, like, you need your job, but, like, you can do your job regardless of whether you're hungover or not. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to just sit back. I'm going to have a good time and just count the years that are coming. Like, I'm going to have fun in these last, 20, 15 years. I'm just going to have fun with that remaining time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find that now, find pockets of it now. I mean, dude, having your own place, jamming music, dude, it's amazing. Like, that's the favorite part of not being in an apartment anymore. I can just turn up the music, do what I need to do.
Bro,
not be, like, weird about it.
So I had a weird question for you, Devin, because you're the only one that's done this, I believe, that we could actually talk to. Do you prefer to live on your own, or do you prefer to have a roommate?
Man, I will say on my own always. Okay, and I will say I don't. And here's the difference. I don't want to go down the wrong rabbit hole. Living with a guy was fine, honestly. We both did our share of the dishes, did our share of the cleaning, like do our laundry, get out of the other person's way without even communicating about it. Okay? A lot of guys you can't do that with. So that actually was totally fine. You know, if he had a guest over and wanted the living room, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like and we never had to like cross that weird bridge of like, hey, can I have the living room today? We just did our thing. You know what I mean? And also I stick to my room. That's just who I am. Right. So whatever. But as far as my personal experience living with women, I would totally fine living by myself. I greatly enjoy doing whatever I want, whenever I want. Okay. So always by myself.
God,
amazing.
I couldn't get you to go down the red pill rabbit hole. I'm so upset.
It was close.
I was baiting it.
I mean, I was really jumping around it, but yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, it's just like, I don't know, man. I've currently at my point in my life, I feel like I'm living a very ideal life for my own vision, right? Like, if I want to play guitar, I play guitar. If I want to make a YouTube video, I turn on my phone and make a YouTube video. And there's not anyone that'll be like, hey, quiet, or like, hey, this is really awkward. I'm about to talk to myself for 45 minutes. If you could like leave the room, I just do it. If I want to, literally any of my hobbies, I can do whenever I want. If I want to go to Applebee's, like, whatever. I don't got to wait on anyone to get ready. I'm just like, man, I come home and I don't know, man. Pretty sweet gig so far.
Okay. So next question as we go down this interview rabbit hole. All right. So let's say, like, okay, do you ever get lonely living by yourself?
No. If I'm lonely, I can literally just talk to people. You know, like if you're lonely, that's what you do. You talk to people personally. If I'm lonely, obviously you and I talk on the phone. I could easily just text, Schwinn. I could text any of my friends. Or if I'm feeling lonely, I probably just felt lonely yesterday after like a year and a half. And that's actually not even after a year and a half. I'd say that's the first time I felt lonely in probably 6 years, because I just don't really get that feeling personally. It's just kind of weird to me. So I went to Applebee's where I know the bartender, and like we just like talked for an hour and I went home. That's what you do if you're lonely, just talk to people. Yeah. I'm not like I need someone living here and occupying space next to me, because I know I'm like thinking about all the things that come with it. I'm like, when I want to leave the bar, I leave the bar. When I want to get off the phone, I can get off the phone. I
don't know. Walk away when you're ready.
Yeah. I guess you can take it in your own doses.
Right. I mean, yeah. Because
Right.
people ask that. People, you're not the first person to ask, like, what do you do when you're lonely? I'm like, you talk to people? I don't know.
Why is this a foreign concept for you?
Well, I'm like, and it's a thing, like, maybe you don't have, like, a phone. Or not a phone. You don't have a friend you can just call up.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get back into Reddit, Facebook, Instagram. You have groups you could join. You want to talk about D&D? There's 50 groups about it. You want to talk about intermittent fasting, and none of your buddies are big into intermittent fasting. There's a Facebook group for it. You can nerd out about not eating breakfast, right? Mm-hmm. Like, whatever.
I mean, fair enough, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Dude, so this week, I decided to, on Tuesday, go to Whataburger, drive through the drive-thru and everything like that. So as I'm in the car, girlfriend's kind of assessing, like, talking with me. We're talking about how we're feeling and stuff like that. And I'm having it explained to me that I might be depressed. And she was like, I don't think you truly understand what depression is. And I'm like, what? I mean, I don't feel depressed. I'm like, I'm not sad or anything like that. And she's like, you don't have to be sad to be depressed. She's like, the fact that you're kind of just waking up in a blah mood and you just you just feel down on the day, but you don't really have a reason as to why. It's like, I think you might have depression and not realize it. I'm like, nah, I don't have it. I don't have it whatsoever.
Bro, maybe I'm going to sound a little psycho here, but I've had 2 or 3 people like, Devin, I actually think you have a very deep form of depression you haven't addressed. And here's the thing, okay? I don't know, right? Again, it's like you don't want to look at your bank, you don't want to know, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I think it's freaking okay to be sad. Like, I was sad the other day, and I was really sad, and I have not been sad like that in probably over a year, probably 2-3 years even, out of nowhere. You know what I did? I was just sad that day, and I listened to sad music, and I replayed the same sad music, and I just sunk into being sad for that day. And I texted a few people, like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I was just sad that, you know what I felt the next day? I felt normal again. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't feel the need to, like, I'm sad. I need to run from this. I need to do all these things. It's like, just be sad for a bit, because I'm not happy all the time. Sometimes you're just stable. Sometimes you're angry.
Mm-hmm. Bro, dude, that's still what gets me about, like, dreams and stuff, dude. Like, I've had dreams where I straight up just... no reason to it, no logic, but I wake up and I'm just pissed at the world that day. I just, no explanation other than I just had a dream that just pissed me off, upset me, and made me mad. And it's like, yep, that's the day I'm having. I am upset for an illogical reason. It makes sense to no one else.
Dude, I've only woken up angry from a dream maybe once or twice. My dreams have been crazier since I've been taking this maca powder. They're extremely vivid and extremely, like, things I will probably take to my grave disgusting. And I'm just like, why is this? Why is this happening? What problem is my subconscious working out here? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because, like, that's like, it's the repair, it's the restore, and, like, I'm just like, what problem is my brain working out here? Like, that's what I think about. Cause like, and that's how, like, if I need to solve problems, I'll read, watch, or like consume it and then like sleep on it. And like the next day in the shower, your brain will work it out. Or like, if you like, are like learning a song guitar, you stop playing that song for like 2 days, try it again. Somehow you've leveled up in the same thing, not doing it. Cause your brain had to like really work it. It's weird. The problem-solving machine in between, attached to your neck, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really cool to record your dreams and rewatch them.
It would be cool.
Yeah, I'd never.
Dude, dreams.
Oh my god,
they're so. Dreams are weird to me, dude. Like, it's weird to me that some people just like don't ever remember their dreams. Like, I don't dream a lot. Like, when it comes to it, like. I know Devin dreams a lot because, like, Devin's told us a number of his dreams and stuff like that where he just woke up laughing. Like, that one's still weird to me.
I've had those.
But, like, dude, I don't dream like that. Like, dude, I cannot remember the last time I had a dream in which I actually woke up and kind of knew what the dream was about.
It's like, I do forget it within the first few seconds, but some are so disgusting or some are so funny that they stay with me. But yeah, like literally I'll be like, that was a crazy dream. And yeah, it's like 10 minutes later, I'm like, what dream?
But you can remember that you had a dream that morning. You know what I mean? Like you can remember, you may not remember the details of it, but you'll know like, yeah, I remember waking up to a weird dream today. I don't have that. I wake up just blank slate. I don't recall even any dream, anything like that, like nothing noteworthy.
Dude, I've remembered things that I think are memories, and then I recall that was actually a dream. Like, I've had dreams that are like different storylines, I guess you'd say, but in the same setting. I've had like 3 dreams about this AT&T store that's like a lot. I can picture it perfectly, where the tables are, where it's at in the parking lot. It's kind of up on a hill. the parking spots are on these two sides. Like, it's really weird. I've had 3 different dreams in this setting. It's very strange. And I wonder why that is. Why does my brain keep visiting that spot?
See, I don't have that. Like, mine's always like blank slate for me every time. It's weird to me that, like, it's kind of a weird concept for people to be like, yeah, no, I have this dream at this place. Like, I remember it. I've had storylines with it. I've never had a time where I'm like, was that a dream or was that real? Just because I don't dream enough. So if it's something even remotely kind of weird, I'm like, yeah, that was a dream.
Well, there's also some weird stuff. Like, I had a dream when I was like around 8 that I remembered again when I was like 13 because it was just so intense. And then I revisited the same place. I couldn't recreate the dream, but inside the dream, I was visiting the same place. And I still think about it. It was just like, I'm not going to sit here and describe it. You literally can't see what I'm thinking. But the point is, I know what it is. Imagine. No, like, yeah, it was like this weird land, you know what I mean? But like, it was so intense. I still think about it. And that was like so many years ago now, but
yeah,
well, that's only a few. That's so rare because if I dream every night,
yeah,
you know.
I have 2 like that, the AT&T one, and then I have from when I was a kid. It was probably like 2 to 4 different dreams from like 8 to 18, but it was me on a bus, and the bus driver was like this old, decrepit old man, and I always remember being on the bus, and I don't really remember what happened in the dreams, but I always remember this bus, the man, and I always remember him picking me up in front of my front door of the house, as the bus would be right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I don't know what that means.
You should try to go back there and fight him or do something. You should try to lucid dream into it and solve the problem.
Dude, okay. So you know how I was talking about those dreams that just make you mad? For me, it's always the ones where it's like you're being chased or you're getting in a fist fight. And no matter what you do, you cannot make yourself run faster as hard as you try. Or
I hate those.
Punch someone in the dream and your punches are just doing nothing. You're like, no. I refuse to let it be like this. I am going to hit harder. And you full force swing and it's just nothing.
Dude, it's like
those
barely
are the ones that
moving.
wake me up just mad. Yes.
Barely. I hate that.
Those
and
are the
you
ones that
feel so stressed.
Yes, because you're just like, dude, I know I can win this fight.
I think that's because your body's actually doing it. Like, if you happen to be recording it that night, you're probably like,
dude.
So I was going to say, one time I actually did swing in my sleep. It was last year. I was with Selena. I like woke up and like swung. Like, she was like, whoa. Like, what are you doing?
Y'all just had a fight that day and it was an accident.
Yeah, bro. Mm-hmm. It was a dream. I got you.
Dude, we need to... You just go in your mom's kitchen, start smashing. It was a dream, Mom. Sorry.
Bro, so
I was sleepwalking.
For me,
it was 3 p.m.
It was a night terror that I had. So, like, I spent all day, like, girlfriend went to work. I think I was unemployed at this time. Like, I was in between jobs, was taking 3 months to not do anything because I was like, I really don't want to go find another job. I can, but I don't want to. So I took 3 months off, and I just spent the whole day at her house just binge watching all the Children of the Corn. Just in a row. Like, from morning till, like, she got home, and she's like, have you been watching this all day? I'm like, yeah, I've gone through, like, 7 movies at this point. And I'm like, okay, we change it up for that evening. We're watching something else. That night, I elbowed her in the face. Because, like, I was having a night terror, and I apparently was, like, moaning and kind of starting to scream, and she could tell I was about to yell, and I had woken her up next to me. And, like, as she was waking me up, apparently I threw an elbow right to her face.
Makes me feel a lot better about my punch.
Hey, she took it like a chip, though. She did, like, even though she was half asleep, like, I know I made good contact because I could, like, feel the, like, actual, like, impact afterwards on my elbow. Dude, she got an iron chin because she took that and she was still, like, half asleep. Like, yeah, baby, you were having a night terror. Like, I just hit her in the face and she's just like, I could sleep right now.
I appreciate that you can take a punch. Dude, I love the scene though. Like, I just like, I don't know, just like walking in, you're like, how's the job hunt going, babe? You're like, huh? Dude, 7 Children of the Corn. Let me tell you.
You make it seem like it was like some like huge discussion in the relationship of like, wow, he's really burning out. I better check my options here.
Let me tell you.
I just like, oh.
No, see, fortunately, I don't have that problem. Like, dude, if I'm unemployed,
Yes.
she trusts me enough to get back on top of it. Like, it's never like, oh, man, okay, he's just going to try this whole being jobless thing forever.
Those damn Children of the Corn movies are getting to them. Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, you end up getting back on, you know, you have a career and everything. But yeah, I just think that's funny to just like open the door to you, like wrapped in like in a nest. Like, how's the job hunt?
So it makes me laugh that y'all always make fun of the fact that, like, I nested. That's how y'all described anywhere that I stayed for a little bit and kind of had built up and made comfort to. You're like, yeah, he's nesting. Clayton's nesting. You don't want to mess with him when he's nesting. It's funny because there was a day like 2 or 3 weeks ago that I was laying in bed and I just didn't feel like getting out of bed that day. So I built up the covers around me, was all comfy, watching stuff on my phone, watching stuff on the TV, rotating between because I got to feel like I'm changing something up every so often. And she comes in after work and she's like, oh, I see that you're nesting. And I'm like, why is it that everyone calls what I do when I get comfortable nesting? Like, why is that? Man. Like, why is that what everyone decides to call it? Like, did y'all have a group meeting of like, so whenever it comes to scientific studies, whenever he wraps himself in comfortable blankets and kind of stacks pillows around him, we use the term nesting so that when everyone in the scientific community understands what we're talking about here.
You're nesting, bro. You're getting ready to chill for a while. There's a slight purr.
It's just a fitting word. It's a fitting word. Nesting. If you look at it, and you're like, that is a nest made like a bird. You nest, you know. Mm-hmm. It's a fitting word. We wouldn't use it if it didn't.
I guess, but I don't feel like I've ever heard y'all being described as nesting when y'all are wrapped up in blankets and stuff like that.
Have you ever seen me nest? But I don't think
to be honest, Devin, I'm
90%
sure that you're the type that has the bed fully made and sleeps on top of the covers.
That is him.
I've done it to avoid redoing the bed making part.
Serial
that
killer.
Is dude, it's a waste. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
The whole point
I don't want to remake it.
I just don't understand where you're like, it is too much work for me to make my bed. It's already made. I'm just gonna lay on top of it and sacrifice the comfort so that I don't have to remake it.
I'm comfortable enough. How comfortable can you get?
The day that
you guys are greedy.
The day we were at Chase's and you came and stayed the night, I think when I was like, yeah, you can sleep in here. I like turned on the light and you just like fell straight on like a made bed with your shoes on and just went to sleep. I was like, all right.
That's perfect. See, you know why? Because when I get up, I can walk away from that. It's still made.
I think, dude, so, like, I get that of, like, oh, you had a super long day, so you just lay down on the bed and you just pass out. I feel that it's weird if it's, like, a conscious thing of, like, I don't feel like making the bed when I wake up, so I'm just gonna sleep on the covers. Like, you're not that tired, you're just like, I really just don't want to make it. So you just lay on top of it. That's weird.
Here's the thing. That's in the event I make it. So in the event I do make it and do it up, I'll look at it and be like, I'm not running this. Like, I got company coming over in 2 days. I'm sleeping on the top.
No, that's one thing that, like, I still don't understand. Like, dude, we never have our bed made. Because it's like, dude, why? Why? Like,
what's the point?
First off, yes, we have people over. What the hell are you doing in my bedroom in the first place?
It's in case. Hey, some people.
It's in case y'all decide to snoop around my house. Like, get out of my bedroom.
It's the accidental. It's a subtle flex. It's the subtle flex of like, hey, in case these people come in here, I want them to know that we have a put together life. That's why we have decorative towels. That's why we fake our bed making. That's why,
I was thinking more like that's where like the best party moments happen is when there's like a small group of people that randomly end up in a room. Just so chaos is happening.
And it would be weird if the bed wasn't made. It'd be like, oh God, what are they doing?
Oh, you're in my
bed. For
me,
it makes sense. Like if it's one of those things, like at Quentin's house, it made sense. Like there were other people living there. We can't always just be in the living room, like where it's just loud for everyone. So it's like, okay, we'll rotate to a bedroom and we'll hang out in the bedroom. Like that made more sense. But like, dude, now that I'm an adult, we live on our own. There's no one else in the house. Like, doesn't matter if we're loud in the living room. Doesn't matter if we're loud in the kitchen. Why the hell would you be in my bedroom?
Never know.
It's not your place. There's a reason why the door is closed. You are not meant to be there. And I know now that I've said it, y'all are going to try to make an effort to get into my bedroom.
I am curious what it looks like.
I'm good.
It's a wreck. It's a wreck, dude. It's full on nest mode, bro.
Full on nest mode?
Yeah.
Like the apartment?
The apartment was a little bit better.
Oh.
Hey, you only came to the apartment like twice, though.
Well, I only came once.
One of the times was...
Yeah, Devin came in like the day we moved in, was the only one there. So it was just me and Devin chilling, and it was like, it was really awkward. I figured more people would be here, and I was like, yeah, me too.
Well, I came on when we built your PC, and then I came a different day, and like Fox was randomly there or something.
It's because No, so there was move-in day.
Was it that day that I came? Because Fox was there when I...
Yeah, that was move-in day because you and Chase helped me move in. So
no, I didn't. I was working. I came later. Chase was the one that helped you.
So yeah, you came later.
Yeah.
Devin came later. No one was like, hey, let's all get together at the same time. It was just like, we'll just randomly show up at random times and we'll see how it goes. Because, you know, we always lack planning.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that was that. And then, like, you came in later. Fox was my downstairs neighbor who was only there for like a month and then moved out. And then, yeah, you came over when we built the PC. And then you came over one other time, but I forget the reason why you came over the other time.
So we built the PC.
I think.
I came over the other. Yeah, I came over because I wanted to watch it, like to see the PC.
Yeah,
I watched you play Andromeda for like a couple hours, and then we watched Parks and Rec or something. But
yeah,
I just remember because I went and saw Victoria's rig, and then like I was like, "What's going on in your closet, dude?" And you're like, "Yeah, we moved here, just kind of threw everything in there. Like nothing was being used in what closets are used for." Like it was just down. You're just like, "Yeah, that's just where it stays."
That's what
I think your PlayStation was in there. Like it was just this nested pile.
So like that's the guest bedroom, and then this like closet right over here. That's the same thing. It's like we never are going to use these, so let's put the stuff that we're never going to need.
Closed.
Yeah, dude, it's so that it doesn't burst out at the seams.
He opens his more pandas and they're bursting.
Look, bro, it's called compromise.
Man, dude.
Bro, so I know you didn't see it, but I'm sure, Devin, did you have any thoughts on the whole geo-guessing thing?
So I didn't watch it, but I'm familiar with it. I came across I don't know if it's the same guy. I mean, I imagine it'd have to be because he's like world class at it. But basically the thing is you can get online and it'll show you, and you can like make it harder on yourself. It'll show you a random Google image and you have to be able to guess where in the world it's at. And this guy or guys are so good at it. Like they go hard mode. It's like, 3-second clip or 3 second of on screen and like no clues or something or whatever. Like how hard can you make it? But they'll get it within like a mile or 10.
So this guy, what was insane about it? So what he did, he pulls up a pic, like he gets the random picture. He cannot move the image. He cannot zoom in on the image. There's nothing he could do to alter the image.
Yeah.
So he's looking at it, and based off like what he knows about the world, he's like able to deduce. He's like, okay, this is probably Spain. This might be Italy. And then like he's like, well, let me see if I can read this sign and get a general idea of the language, and maybe that'll help me out. And he looks. He's like, I'm thinking Argentina. He's like, I'm taking a random shot. It's Argentina. He's like, I'm going off the fact that it's really flat, but then you have a mountain in the distance. So he's like, all right, let me figure this out. Goes through the whole process. Eventually, like within like 5 minutes, he had the location that he had selected was within 10 yards of the actual location.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you don't type it in, like he pins it. Or something like that. Yeah. And I think, so maybe it is the same video I saw, because I remember a guy being like, I think I saw a sign that looked like this. Yeah, and there's like one in Russia.
It's weird to think that that's like a talent these people know. They just have so much geographical, what, I can't think of the class for it.
Knowledge,
geography.
Or, whatever.
It's like he has so much like knowledge on geography that he's like, okay, I know that they build their buildings like this. Okay, well, this building's a certain amount of age. It's this. Like, it's just fascinating to know that he stores that much information about the whole world that he can get within 10 yards of a place.
Dude, he could be like recruited by the FBI. Like if there was ever a kidnapping video or something, or like a hostage video, that's the guy you show it to be like, where do you think they're at?
Mm-hmm. Well, dude,
like that's so crazy.
It's crazy to think that's a talent, but like on that same note, like the idea of like the FBI and stuff like that, think about that. That probably is people's jobs. Because, like, I forget who it is. There's some guy who was an FBI negotiator or whatever, and he always talks about it, and he works with, like, sales teams and stuff now, and he always talks about the fact of, like, it all comes down to your knowledge base, and he talks about, like, a famous case he had where it was, like, I want to say it was maybe Bolivia or something like that, where it's like, oh, well, we know this about the group that, you know, they like to party on the weekends, so they'll probably release them before the weekend, so 2-3 days tops, and things like that. And, like, he's explaining everything. He's like, we'll have it figured out by then. He's like, it's just about knowledge and reassuring them. Like, I know you know who I'm talking about. Like, I'm sure you've seen him in the Sphere. I know Jordan Belfort did a podcast with him.
Is it? I mean, it's not the guy who busted him, right? It's the other guy. I think I don't know. I don't know. I would imagine he's probably the guy who wrote "Never Split the Difference" or something. Is that the same guy?
I think he may have written that. I'm not sure, but he's FBI negotiator or was a hostage negotiator for the FBI. And he talks about how like hostage negotiation is pretty much the same thing as sales. It's all like, it's insane. It's crazy to see.
Just reassurance. It's hilarious, dude. Well, also, like, it is thinking, like, crazy to think about, like you said, like, the patterns. Because, like, you start thinking about, like, what are my patterns?
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that somebody's out to kill me, but that is weird. Is like, they would just have to watch you for a week or two. Like, cool. Thursdays is what he does. He leaves the house at this time. Get him then. You know what I mean? Like, he comes home at this time. Get him then. You're like, that's so weird.
I feel so. Like, here's my thing: is like, I feel like if you watch my life, it's really random except for like 2 or 3 things that are kind of set in stone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have D&D nights. Those are set in stone. You have the time I leave for work. Other than that, dude, all the stuff is kind of just random. I'm either just chilling in my house, and if I need to go out, it will be a random time. It'll never be like, yeah, I get up and I go to the grocery store on this day at this exact time every day. It's like, I will get up, I will decide whether I want to go to the grocery store or not. I won't do it for the first 3 hours of the day, and then randomly I'll get a hair being like, wow, you've been really lazy today, and then I will run to the grocery store to do something.
To avoid somebody trying to kill you. And this is why we should have rotating D&D nights in case someone's trying to take out our group.
Oh, I don't disagree, man. I'm not like, I live my life as if I'm always being like, everyone's trying to assassinate me. It's why I don't accept people like food from people I don't really know that well. So like, I'm the type that it's really weird, but if my coworkers like offer me food or something like that, I won't accept it. Like,
yeah, like sometimes like I'll go out I'll like go out my back window to get to my car, and just in case they're waiting for me at the front door.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta switch it up. It's the same thing for me. Like, sometimes I leave through the garage, lock up the garage. Sometimes I'm going out the back door. Sometimes I'm going out. You know, I pop out the window in the bathroom, climb out that one.
I'll drive my car from the passenger seat. I have a rig set up, so in case they're aiming for the head of the driver, just hit the headrest.
I mean, sometimes I'll just steal a random car. That way they don't know what car I'm driving.
Nondescript.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, or like the normal gas station, you know, whatever. If I'm getting a Red Bull, I'll get a Bang.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if the Red Bull was poison that day, you know, I go to Starbucks, switch up my order.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Devin? No. And then when I get to the window, I'm like, why did you ask me my name? I don't need to identify myself. I'm a sovereign citizen. You know that whole
100%.
spiel, right?
Like, dude, that's why I keep extra license plates in the garage so I can just switch them out on command. And sometimes I'll paint the car a different color.
Yeah, like it's the paint and spray. Or maybe we just get one of those the mechanisms that like you can install, and it's like a 4-block and rotate the license plate.
Yeah, I mean,
middle of the road.
At that time, you're just extending effort because you're having to still every few months you're having to pull the whole rig off, switch out all the license plates. It's more work. I've looked into it. It's not really worth it.
Right. That makes sense. I do get tired of changing my phone number weekly because all the 2-factor authentication gets crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I just don't sign up for anything, you know, keep myself even more off the grid.
Yeah.
Like, I only do month-to-month leases because, you know, every day I'm changing.
I might be here for 2 years, but any moment we could get up and leave.
It's about the freedom, dude. It's why I buy my phones outright, okay? AT&T doesn't know whether I'm tied into them or not. I always got to keep them on the back foot.
I still don't understand that logic.
Keep my landlord on their back foot, right?
I don't understand why you don't get my logic of wanting to just not have a phone on installments.
Okay, if there's a promotion for it, it makes no sense. If there's not a
is what I didn't
promotion,
understand.
Here's my argument. It's a weird complex for me that I just don't feel like the phone is really mine.
I don't care.
Like, I understand.
I mean, I'm going to turn it back in.
If that's the thing, I don't trade my old phones back in. Yeah. I won't do it. Too much data.
It's not really mine. I don't know.
It's
dude.
that
That's
logic
so
behind
weird.
me that it's like if I'm financing something, I have this weird complex of like, I don't really own this. Someone could take this from me. Like, even though I know it's unrealistic, like, I know no one's going to come repo my phone, but it's just a weird complex.
I don't have a complex with it, but I did think about that one day, like paying off my furniture. You know, I was like sleeping in my bed. I'm like, I don't own this yet.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
like I was just kind of like, that's weird. You know, or like, you know, my son spilled something on the couch after having it a month. I was like, I haven't even begun to pay this off. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that part of it, but I'm not like sleeping on my bed, like feeling like guilt or imposter syndrome. The Ashley hitmen are gonna show up and be like, give us the bed back.
Amen.
You don't want it, especially when you pull off those sheets. You don't want it.
Oh God!
It's one of those things that is just like, I know in actuality what the company's gonna do is they're gonna just attack my credit on certain things, but it's like, dude, I have a weird complex. I have to own it. It's like,
yeah.
It's like if I were to finance like a car, like, it's not really mine. If I wreck it, I'm still on the hook for it, even though it's not mine. I'd rather wreck it knowing that it's mine or break it knowing that it's mine. That's a weird complex, dude.
And see, so same thing with the cars is like, it's how phones are now, but unless I had a lot of money, I wouldn't buy it outright. Because like, if I'm not driving a lot, which that's the thing, I drive way too much to lease a car, but you can do a lease on a car, trade it in every 3 to 5 years and have a different car. You know what I mean? Or again, if I had a lot of money, I'd buy it outright. But then, like, I don't know.
I don't know.
For a car.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things, though. Like, for me, I love having a car paid off, dude. It frees up so much money per month, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so nice to not have a car payment. And it's like one of those payments that can like separate you from being able to handle emergencies and stuff like that. Like a car payment, if you put that away every month, after like 2 or 3 months, you've built up enough money that you now have a nest egg if something goes wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Car payments suck.
But that's also like the idea too behind like car payments and everything like that is like, it's also like, don't live above your means. You know what I mean? You should be able to know whether you can actually afford the car payment or not, and whether you're looking at the correct car.
30% interest, 2021, 80 months. Let's do
Zero
it.
down.
80 months.
Like,
I've seen it.
They go that far now? I thought 60 was far.
Oh, maybe it's 60.
God.
it's just,
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. I literally would not be surprised if 80 is a thing. You will never pay that off.
It wouldn't surprise me. Like, I've listened to car salesmen talk about stuff like that, and they'll talk about the fact that like they talked people so high up on the price that the lender would not approve them for that amount, like, because they were like, dude, we're not going to finance the car for this amount, regardless of whether you talk them into it or not. We can't let them pay that. So it's like,
refuse.
He was like,
yes.
oh, whenever that happens, he's like, I made up some BS about how they were the 1,000th customer that day or something like that. And he's like, they got it on promotion. He's like, those people love you, even though you talk them way over the cost of what the car is.
80 months. That's freaking hilarious.
Sign me up, boss.
Just sign forever. What do you mean?
Dude, that's just it. Like, well, the thing is, I feel like if I were to try to jump into like financing a car, I could get approved, but I so feel that my like rates on it would be so bad that it's just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I can't do stuff like that. But I mean, it's whatever. I guess if that's what you got to do, it's what you got to do. I'm also not in the state where it's like I have to have it. I have to have a car payment because I can't survive without it. You know what I mean? Because I've never had to live without it.
Yeah. I mean, when mine's paid off, I'm not buying a new one for as long as I can.
Yeah, or you get a stack.
I don't see the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it works and it's reliable, why switch it out just to switch it out?
Yeah, I love my car. Like, I don't see a point.
Because I'm trying to be
just...
because I'm trying to be an influencer.
What's funny though is I could see you actually trying to become an influencer. I could see Devin doing that.
It's an insult.
No, it's that you have the look and you have the mindset to find prolific things and phrases to say that if you wanted to, you could make up inspirational phrases and stuff like that you know, like, okay, it has no meaning. Like, if I asked you to spit off, like, give me, like, 3 inspirational quotes that out of nowhere you're just pulling them out, you could do it regardless of whether you felt it was a good quote or not. Like, the ones you use now, you've thought about some and you're like, okay, that one's an actual good one. Here's how it applies. Makes sense. Like, you know what I mean?
I think, like, I guess I always twist the word influencer. I think if I were to have influence on people, yes, I like to have influence on people and impact them positively. I hear influencer and I'm just like, all I'm thinking is like people getting pied in the face, and I'm like
Paul.
doing just stupid challenges, like just to try to get people to be like, look at me, as opposed to like I do things I like that I think are goofy, you know, or whatever. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think
I would
you
like
put
to have
influencer on it, but like I don't consider like Jake Paul or anything like that an influencer. When I think influencer, I think like Instagram. All you do all day is take pictures and like get everyone to look at you. Like, you're not really doing anything, because like as much as people want to hate on like Jake Paul and stuff like that, there is a level of work and grind that they've put into it and making the channel, stuff like that. They just do a bunch of stuff. But I don't feel like they're ever, I don't know how to put it. Like,
there are some people Selena watches these YouTubers. It's like Karina and something. These two sisters that are like twins, and they started out with like, I don't know what they're. I think they're like makeup tutorial videos or something, and it just escalated to the point to where now their YouTube videos are just reality TV shows about their families. Like it's just about these people. That to me is like an influencer. Like they're not producing any content other than just like, hey, this is my life. We started a company, like they make slime for kids, and like they don't really do like any like pranks or nothing like that. Like the last video was about her pregnancy. And people care though, because they watched her whole journey. So like they're like, I want to know what's gonna happen. You know.
See, that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. But even when I hear influencer, I immediately think Jake Paul like pops in my mind.
Same.
You know, and like both of them, Jake Paul and Logan Paul, both of them actually. But Kim Kardashian is, I think, influencer. I think there's this girl. I don't have TikTok, but again, she is so famous. It's like it leaks out to other things.
Yeah, Charlie D.
Well, I guess she's not an. No, I was going to say I don't think she's an influencer. She could be if she started speaking. Yeah. She just bobs her head and she gets millions of views.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a market, there's a market, right? I mean, I feel like when it comes to things like that, like there's that part of it that if you just genuinely enjoy it, cool. Like it's something like, you know, with us, the podcast, like it's just something we're doing because we genuinely enjoy it. If it gets a following, it's gonna be because we genuinely enjoy it. It's not because we're overly trying at, like, we're throwing everything we got at it. Yeah, we're gonna put a lot of effort in, but it's gonna be because we enjoy it, not because it's just, we're just trying to make it big. You know what I mean? Like there's that fake, like trying to make something like what is that one where they had the fake island party or whatever? Like
the Fire Festival?
Yeah, like that. Like there's that fakeness behind it where there's no substance.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was wild.
Where there's no substance behind it, and it's like, okay, of course, like it had all this hype around it, but it flopped because like clearly they were doing it just for the money. Whereas like if you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it because the money can come if we put the effort into it. That'd be nice, but we do it because we genuinely care about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like trying, and that's what I'm trying to pin down to. Like, if you had made a good festival, people would go.
Yep.
But it was famous for the sake of being famous. That's where you get into the end. That's what I think of when I think bad term on influencer. I think if you have a good influence, you are actually good at what you do or maybe what you talk about. And it's like people, I have, you know, trust and recognition, I have credibility, you know, people listen to me because I actually do something or, you know, or I have good connections. You know what I mean? Like there's some people who are just like, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but they know how to pull the right people together. They know how to pull experts together, and like they get the best interviews. You know what I mean? So it's like this guy's not like he doesn't do something crazy. He just has all the right people want to be on his show. There's this I can't think of the name of it, but there's a guy. There's like plenty of people who are famous at podcasting outside of Joe Rogan, but like he only has successful entrepreneurs on. Like that's his lane, and motivational speakers on. Yeah. And all he does is share motivational stuff, but like it's like that is his lane. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if somebody's on his show, you're clicking it because you're like, that person is either extremely successful or extremely motivating.
Yeah.
Either way, it's kind of two in the one. It's the same.
As soon as you said that, it brought to mind Jordan Peterson. He's an influencer of our time, but he's not an influencer. But like he's going to express his ideas and stick to his principle regardless of what people say.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson's not going to do the savage dance. Yeah.
I mean, we say that, but honestly, we all know Jordan, and Jordan loves money. So if there's a big enough $sign on that check, he'd get after it, bro. Let's be honest.
Dude, he's not. What the heck? No.
Dude. Oh, nah, I'm thinking Belfort. My bad.
Yeah, you're thinking Belfort. I was like,
I'm thinking Belfort.
Yeah, I was like, no.
Jordan Peterson, I don't know, maybe if it came out to like a book deal. Maybe a book deal. I could see it happen.
I would just see him making a book about how these people offered him a corrupt book deal.
What it would turn into is like, you know, like, will you do the savage dance? Will you do a TikTok challenge? You know, and he'd be like, well, you know, the thing with TikTok that we must understand, it's not insignificant, you know, and like he'd like have this long thing about how TikTok affects this like human psychology and the hierarchies that are within TikTok and why it can be examined also in some random Disney movie and how it can be turned against you.
And
it'd be like,
God,
so
dude.
it would
take
be
control of
that.
your life, you know, clean up your room, you know, just do something with yourself. These young men today,
I
man.
don't know. Here's my thing, though. I think the reason why I don't like Jordan Peterson is I always feel like it's always a shot of, like, these kids these days. You know what I mean? It's always ragging on, like, oh, these kids these days.
Ragging. You're not watching it, but you think it's ragging. It's definitely not ragging.
So it's that.
That's how he got famous, was supporting the younger people. Like, he came out in support of a lot of younger people. Now, I know he went against the transgender thing in Canada, but a lot of his supporters are younger people.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
generally male, but
I don't know. I just always feel like it's like, no matter what it is, it's always pointing out how one side is wrong versus one side is being right. And I guess I just don't like taking that hard of a stance on anything like that. Maybe that's what shies me away from it.
Well, he plays devil's advocate in anything. He is a psychologist. He's like, here's this, but also here's this. But here's what I think. You know.
Maybe it's just
the
that
thing
I
with
don't like people who play devil's advocate like I do.
Yourself?
I just don't like it.
Wagonite?
I hate myself.
what
That's
do you
the
mean?
real show.
Well, I wouldn't say he plays devil's advocate. He'll just exploit the territory. He just explores the territory of an argument, as all. It's to be like, you know, you need to do this. And he just like anybody else will address the argument. And he'd be like, you might be thinking, or you might say, well, what's the use in that? Let me explain. So that, I don't think that's anything devil's advocate, really. That's just addressing the elephant in the room of like, if you're thinking this way. But here's the good thing about taking a hard stance, as much of a hard stance as you can. Like, not just for the sake of being bullheaded, but like, one thing I was watching a Tim Henson video, and obviously I like this guy because he plays guitar really well, and he's from Dallas, so it's like local. He went to UNT and dropped out just like us, dude.
Nice. Success.
Yeah. But anyway, he was talking about how he made one of his songs, and something he heard from Rick Rubin was like, he's like, the best art is polarizing. And like, that stuck with me. I'm like, dude,
it's true.
Kanye, extremely polarizing. Drake, extremely polarizing. Eminem, extremely polarizing. And that's just all three rappers, right? So like, I watch people who do creative things and make art. I watch their interviews and I like put it, like, how can I take this into my everyday life? And like this, everything, anybody that's Alex Jones is polarizing. Jordan Peterson is polarizing. Joe Rogan, as laid back as like we probably think he might be, he's extremely polarizing. There's so many people on my social media feed that hate him as a human being. And I'm like, what did he do?
He gave people a platform.
I mean, I don't disagree. There's like, I don't like Joe Rogan every episode that he does. There are some that I'm just like, dude, I'm so like, the best thing I can point to is whenever he was talking, like, he was just so dead set and that the sauna helped with COVID. And then he had a legitimate person on who was like, there is no science to back that. And he's like, no, it definitely helps. And he's like, no, we can literally prove the proteins only stay in your body this long. Doesn't really have an effect. And he's like, no, you're wrong. Like, there are moments like that where I'm just like, dude, you clearly, like, you're talking and you obviously don't know enough and you have a bias to it.
So also tying back to like where we started with Alex Jones, that's Joe Rogan getting to that level of fame where his persona is starting to take over. Because even a few years ago when Joe Rogan was he's been at the top of the podcast game for a long time, like his fame level. But when I started watching a few years ago, he was more of like an interviewer. He was more of a biased, like unbiased, like, here, wait, let me talk about this. And even if you go farther back, yes, he has his opinions, but I feel like has a persona now, like, it's Crazy Joe. Like, I mean, he did before, but it's just getting more and more
I get what you're saying, because I do kind of agree with that in the beginning it was literally just interviews, and now it feels like he dead sets on certain stances that it's like, dude, you used to be able to like talk to him and kind of give your side of the argument, whereas now it's kind of, you give your side of the argument and it's sometimes like it's in one ear and out the other.
he thinks he's a scholar now.
Yeah.
And I like Joe Rogan, but he does think he's a scholar now that he's like listened to scholars for years. Like,
okay, well, there's like multiple sides to that thing, though. Okay, I think starting on the beginning, if you're always playing both sides, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's probably become more confident in himself in saying things. You know what I mean? Like a Jordan Peterson, he had to take a stance. The reason he got famous for that controversial thing, he even said, he's like, I thought about that for a very long time, and I decided this was my stance on it. You know what I mean? It's polarizing. People talk about it still. People hate him for it or they love him for it. That's it. That's it. And everybody's always like, if you're always in the middle, like, no one prefers you. No one cares. No one cares about the guy who's open to everything. You know what I mean? So, like, and I think with Joe Rogan, if you do listen to scholars, I mean, it's a different form of being smart if you actually, you know, taking in everything they say. Like, it's okay to, like, picking a stance is, like, sometimes it's good to be like, this is what it is for me. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
See,
I think open-minded. Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but I feel like the reason Joe Rogan got big was because of that open-mindedness.
Because of his platform.
It was never the fact of like, oh, I'm going to take a stance or anything like that. It was, no, I'm a moron, educate me, person who knows about it. And Joe would just ask the questions. It was literally him understanding that he wasn't a genius. And like, he was kind of a little bit more laid back on what he was interested in. Now it feels like, I guess maybe he studies too deep into what he studies into. And now it's like he has those people on, but it's not, doesn't pose questions like the way he used to.
It's more of a debate or let's push this idea or agenda. But I still remember one of his podcasts where he had the two, they're like biologists or something, but they were married, a man and a woman, and like they were super interesting. And he barely talked. Like, he just asked a few key questions, and like you said, it was kind of like biology for dummies or whatever the topic is for dummies. And Joe Rogan's the average Joe asking the questions, and you're getting educated by it. Yeah. But I also see Devin's side, because if Joe does never take a stance, people are going to be like, okay, like, anyone can do this. Like, Joe's not that entertaining.
That's just it, though. What I used to like about Joe is, like, he'd have those, hey, I'm a dummy. He'd kind of educate himself on it. And then whenever he got in a conversation with someone in another field, he would bring up that topic of, like, hey, what's your opinion on it? I'm somewhat educated on it. I'd love to hear your side. And he would, like, there was a conversation to be had, but there was always, like, that sense that you were learning alongside Joe. Whereas now it feels like, I guess he's maybe gotten too much knowledge on the things that he's interested in, that it's just kind of an echo chamber now.
I mean, I still think it's there a healthy amount. I think, like everyone, he has a hot button issue, but he'll go at it. You know, like, some people, like, you give them a hot button issue and they still won't say anything about it. Like, there was a couple of years ago, he had the guy who Adam Runs Everything. He had him on. Yep. And, dude, they got in such an argument about alphas and betas. Because that was just that triggered Joe. Hilarious to watch. It's hilarious to watch. Or when he got in an argument with Steven Crowder about weed.
Oh yeah. That was bad. That was so bad.
The thing is, though, some of those I thoroughly enjoyed those, because it was like he had enough knowledge base to kind of back it up a little bit, but was still, like, receptive to new information that they'd give. So, like, whenever they were going at it, he'd be like, okay, here, I see your point here, but this is the part of the argument that I think you're wrong in. Like, it always seemed like he was still willing to be receptive, whereas now it feels like he's a little bit less receptive than what he used to be.
Maybe it's an age thing too, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was gonna say. He's coming of age, man. Like, I wonder if once you hit a certain point, or maybe it's a certain experience in your life, you're just like, man, these are my principles, and nothing's really gonna change that. I mean, I don't know.
And I think it's just certain things. You know, I think you should have principles or some type of something you value to have, like, a compass. But I think there's certain things, even now at my age, that if someone brought up to me, all of us actually, you'd be like, that is completely incorrect, and I'm not even going to entertain this with you. Or if I do entertain this with you, like it's, you know what I mean? So like, that's just, you know, what it is, but there's so many things I'm so open to hear about. Cause like, you know, I don't know what I don't know. And that's so interesting to learn new things. And then
it is. Yeah.
But I think it for me, it could also come down to the fact that he kind of changed over to Spotify. Like, you know,
so
I stopped on that journey with him. You know what I mean? So the journey is just different now, and I wasn't there for the growth along the way.
I actually haven't heard any of his podcasts in the new Spotify one, so I can't really say. I'm over here talking crap, but I can't actually say how he is now.
Oh, I've only watched a few from Spotify. It's Bill Burr, Elon, and Tim Dillon.
I've watched Bill Burr, Elon, Max Holloway. Like, I've listened to a couple random ones, but dude, there's some that I'm just like, dude, I just don't feel like I'm getting anything from. So now I'm getting to that point where it's like I'm starting to pick the guests I want to listen to. Like, if I don't have anything else on, all right, cool. Get rid of this. Let me look through. Okay, he had this guest on. Okay, let me see what this person's done.
That's how I always do
That's
it.
always been me, though. Yeah, I've never been like, there's never been a single podcast I'm like, I've watched, like, oh, a new episode. I've always been like, who is this?
No,
you know what I mean? Or like if I find someone I'm interested in, I watch all the podcasts with that person.
See, maybe that's where I'm a different breed than y'all when it came to podcasting, because like I used to have that app that showed my progress of how much I listened to. And I remember y'all always found it crazy that I was over 1,000 hours on it. And it's like, dude, that's...
See, I think you're more like Chase. Chase would go back to the beginning and listen all the way through, like through every episode. And he like, he like develops like a relationship kind of. He's like, this is what I like about this podcaster. Or this is what I like about this show. Like I'm like more like Devin. I'd be like, oh, Jordan Peterson. Oh, he was on these. I'm going to watch these. Or Elon Musk or the biology lady. But like the fight companions, I always skip them.
Oh no, dude. See, my fight companions, I love those ones. Cause like, I guess the podcasts that I always love best from Joe are when he's sitting around having a great time. Like he's like, dude, my favorite podcasts for him are like the Sober October ones. It's him and 3 of his buddies sitting around, just playing around, ragging on each other, having a good time. And that's what I love to see.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Cause it's just kind of that sense of community.
I have to be like, you know, when I do start picking and choosing, you know, obviously the algorithm is going to throw you more of that person, and then you do become interested in them. Like, I watched one Michaela Peterson video, Jordan's daughter, and she has her own podcast. And I was like, I watched one and I freaked out because it was Tom Bailu, a really awesome guy. He made Quest Nutrition, it's all the Quest bars. He's the one that did that. Sold it for $1 billion, and then now he does Impact Theory. You might have actually seen Impact Theory. All he does is interview people who have an impact on the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's done Rob Dyrdek, he's done motivational speakers, he's done authors, you know, whatever. And he has a certain approach to his interviews. Anyway, he was on her podcast. That, you know, that's how they get you in, because it's like, I like this guy, so I'm kind of familiar with this person. Let me watch. Mm-hmm. Well, now because I liked it, Michaela did one with Mark Manson. He wrote the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Enough. So I'm like, okay, again, I like Michaela. Book. You should read it.
I really should.
I haven't read it yet, but like, I just know who he is. And like I've watched his interviews, but I haven't read his book. But I imagine if you watch 5 interviews of somebody, you probably know their book. You know what I mean? So I'll read it one day. But
I mean, that's a general idea when it comes to like anything. When it comes to like self-help or anything like that, like you can always get the general gist. Like that's the thing I liked about the book that you gave me. This is like, I'm not telling you some secret. I'm just giving you my way of explaining it. And he's like, everyone else has had this same idea. I'm just giving you my version on it of what I think people will be receptive to. And I think that's kind of that same outlook when it comes to like, well, if I've listened to, you know, 4 or 5 of his interviews, I kind of get the idea of the book because you've gained what his perspective on something is.
I think that's also what gave me confidence to be more outspoken. Well, that also gave me confidence to make YouTube videos, and that also gave me confidence to be like, sometimes I do post on social media. It's never political, but if I do want to say something, I have more confidence in like, yeah, people are going to think I'm dumb, or yeah, people are going to say people have said this, but it's like reading several books and watching movies and YouTube videos and interviews. I'm like, dude, it's literally okay if somebody said it before. What's your version?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the end of the world that somebody else, like, everything has been said.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, it's like
give it up.
It's the same thing of like how people always like look to someone to be like profound or have this amazing hot take on it that's like perfect all the way around. It's like it's always chasing that dragon, I guess, is how I feel about it.
Yeah, dude. Like, and the other thing too is like, not only like has the things been said, I think also people are like, they don't want to say the same thing twice or something similar twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard to do because, one, you're going to forget what you say after a few months, but two, who that's successful has not at least kind of gone over the same pathway a bunch of times. Like, you know, starting out, you have, you know, it's unlimited, but then also it's like, that's why people come to you. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who will go to a Tony Robbins event and then go to the next 10 events and still not do anything to change their lives, but they want to hear him say it again. You know what I mean? Or like, it's something about that. Like, nothing could change, you know, and that's the other side of it.
It's kind of like walking to the refrigerator or the cabinet thinking you're going to find something different. It's the same thing,
It's
man.
always the same.
Over and over. But you're like, man, I'm going to see something when I walk in here. Something I didn't see before.
And sometimes you have an idea of what they're going to say and you want to confirm. You know what I mean? Like, there's someone you follow that has an opinion on something and you click on it. I want to see this guy's opinion of it. And you're like, yes, it's what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is that?
Yeah.
It's like, does it have to be right?
I gotta know.
True.
You gotta know.
I mean, there's like, so like, y'all probably laugh at this, but like John Skywalker, bro, he knows literally nothing about investments, but I still follow him on Instagram as an influencer. And I'm like, what's he investing in right now? He invested in AMC a year ago. He just got lucky and he admitted that, but I like that. Like, he's just very just like, yeah, dude, I'm on the juice. Yeah, bro. It's like, it's just like, it's how you do it. You guys want to invest? He's just living his life, but I'm very interested in him as a person. Like, I want to see what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I might be like, oh, that is a good idea.
Well, I also kind of wonder too if like the people that you watch, the people that you follow, if it's 100% like because you feel like you're them to a certain degree, you feel like that's just you. You know what I mean?
Or you want to be them, or you want to have a lifestyle like them, or something like that.
Well, see, for me, like the thing that made me cue into that a little bit is the fact that, like you said, like he's just like, bro, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I got lucky. Like, I feel like that kind of represents how you feel about things and kind of how your outlook is. Like, if you do something successful, you never will chalk it up to like, yeah, I did the right thing. I knew what I'm doing. I'm good at this. It's always, I was just lucky.
That's true. That's what
and dude, that's
relatable.
That's relatability. Yeah, it's relatable. That's, I mean, sales, you need to find something to relate to the person, and it's cakewalk from there. But that's everything. Like, that's why the people I look up to are like, they have something in common with me. And like, it gets stupid. It gets really dumb. Like one of the guys I follow likes Halo Top ice cream, and that tripped me out because I thought I was the only person who liked Halo Top ice cream outside of like me and you, Schwen. I was like, that is so cool because I think this guy's smart and he likes Halo Top ice cream. It's the littlest things, and it's relatability. Like Tim Henson, the guitar, you know what I mean? I'm like, we like the same type of music. That's why I like his music. But then today when I was watching his interview and he's like, yeah, I dropped out of UNT because I didn't know why I was going. I'm like freaking out, dude. I'm like, what?
I did that.
And then he's like, I was doing graphic design. And I'm like, dude, it's like blowing my brains. I'm like, dude, oh my, you know, it makes like the people you look up to, it makes them human. It makes them relatable. Like, dude.
Well, dude, that made me think of Chris Jones, man. I still remember when we watched Chris Jones in college, and he was in that little duplex working out in like his backyard, and now he's in like a mansion. But I remember when you were like, it was like we came back home, and I wanted to buy some protein, and I didn't have money for it. And you're like, bro, get the whey at Walmart. I was like, I hate that. It tastes terrible. And you're like, dude, Chris Jones got shredded off for like 2 years. Like, it's all I used. Like, all right, let's do it. Like, that convinced me right there. Like, Chris Jones did it. I can do it.
It's good enough for Chris Jones.
I don't
It's
know.
good enough for me.
Like,
And he's just some guy that's like, yeah, guys, that's what I'm doing.
But here's also, so you see his grind, but you know what really got me excited? Finding out he lived in Fort Worth like what I did. I was like, oh my God, what?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's met Calliope, bro. He met one of our friends. Sorry, I didn't stop saying names, but yes, dude, that's crazy, bro.
Dude, yeah.
I don't know. I just find it weird. Like, for me, I feel like y'all easily find what relates y'all to something. Whereas for me, I don't feel like I guess I'm not as self-aware of what I see that I'm like, oh, it's because it's relatable and here's where it relates. I feel like for y'all very easily can see how things relate to y'all.
To me, that's what makes like any sort of media enjoyable. Like, I mean, that's why I like Hot Rod. It reminds me of us as kids. That's why I like Back to the Future. I used to be obsessed with wanting to go back in time to find a cure for my father's disease. Why I like that 70s show. Each character almost distinctly reminds me of each one of y'all, or one personality trait that reminds me of one of y'all. And I'm like, that takes me back to nostalgia. Or whatever it is, a song could play. And I'd be like, I remember hearing this song when we were in the garage skating. Or I remember hearing this song, my mom's taking me to Burgers Lake with everyone, or something like that. Like, relatability is what makes it enjoyable. I can't just like, I mean, yeah, stuff's funny or stuff's enjoyable, but the relatability makes it immersive. That's the way it makes it immersive.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you have those reasons, you have identifiers that you understand why it relates. For me, I can't give you a reason why it relates to me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't know. I just like it.
Sometimes you got to open your brain, dude. Just be like, why am I watching this? Like, and you got to be honest with yourself.
Okay.
You really do. You got to be like, I mean, maybe this memory from when I was 13 that was just a jackassery moment is actually really important to me. You know, like, dude, why am I being reminded of it?
If you think about something a lot, it's your brain trying to tell you it's important to you. And you need to think about, why is this important to me? Or what's something you enjoy? Like, you enjoy D&D nights with us. You have to understand, why is D&D enjoyable to you? Is it because you're building a character? Is it or is it the community aspect? And you're like, I value friendship. I value working as a team. Like, it might sound corny, but like, that's the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand what's important to me. Like, certain characteristics I have are important to me. So when I see people with those characteristics, that's why I respect them. The people I look up to are good at the things that I value. They're good at being creative. They're good at being, you know, like, witty and social. They're good at getting people bought in. Like, anything that I think I'm decent or good at, if I see that in other people, or if I see it in media, you know what I mean? Like, that's why people like music. It's because it's relatable.
See, like, maybe that's just it for me. Like, you said it just a few minutes ago, but you were saying it's the fact that, like, you understand what you want. Whereas maybe it's just I don't understand what I actually want and what I value yet. Maybe I haven't had that full moment. Like, I have obviously, like, a couple things, but maybe it's just that as y'all have found more of what y'all value, whereas for me it's like, I mean, I have like 3 things I value, but everything else I kind of just am indifferent to.
No, see, even just knowing you, I feel like you have way more than just 3 things that you value, or principles, or something that you stick to. Like, this is how Clayton rolls about this certain topic. Like, you just not recognizing it yourself, or you're not admitting to it. Like, you definitely have more than 3 values.
Well, I'm saying, like, 3 things that I feel are, like, core important to me. Like, obviously I care about, you know, the people around me, the things that I've built. I want to protect those things. So, like, I have 1 there. And it's like, yeah, I obviously value the 2, like, self-growth and stuff like that. All right, cool, I've got 2. And then it's like, the other ones I feel like I'm all kind of just indifferent to, and I can be swayed one way or another, and I don't have a huge stance on it other than I just want the best outcome from everyone on it.
Okay, and here's the thing, like, and you won't figure it out in 3 to 5 minutes. You won't. But what's important is think about what are some of your favorite memories that have positively impacted you and others, and sit there and write about it and be like, what about this is important to me, and why is this an important characteristic? Because I agree with Schwinn. I feel like there is I feel like you more than us two would have you have a guiding compass that's like, this is what's acceptable for Wagner. Here's what's not. You know what I mean? Here's what I'm, that's so funny that we think that about you. And you're like, no.
Dude, maybe that's the funny part of it is like y'all think I have these core principles and stuff like that. Like I have like a general principle that I obviously try to follow, and for me it's like I pick the easy one. I follow the law. That's what I do. Like I let that guide me.
Nah, bro.
Right. Okay, well hold on. To be fair, that's kind of one. Why is the law important to you? Well, it keeps people in order. Okay, why is order important to you? Well, I think, and this is why I value order in my life. You could go down that, but it's another one of those things. Others see in you what you don't see in yourself. You know what I mean? So I think if you sat with it, you'd be like, dang, this is eye-opening. And think about what is it that you really, value as a characteristic, And that's like I told y'all, when people tell me hey, Devin, you're good at this, I have to really think about it, because I'm like, I don't think I'm good at that.
I don't know. Maybe.
But obviously, if it impacts them, that means I'm really good at it. Yeah. If they can Devin, you're good at this, I need to do that.
I don't know. Maybe
people
that's
are always going to see different.
Maybe that's just it too. Is maybe it's the fact that I've never really understood or I've never been the type that really likes taking compliments. You give me a compliment and I'm like, nah, I can give you 30 reasons as to why that compliment is wrong. So maybe it's just that is someone gives me a compliment or has that discussion of dude, I think you're really good at this. I think this is what you're kind of great at. There's part of me that's not really, but I appreciate that you think that. And maybe that's why it's not made self-aware to me, is I'm like, nah, I don't think you understand what goes on in my head.
It's not so much the compliments. I mean, it's you recognizing it for yourself. I mean, people could compliment you all day and you could still be extremely depressed or hate yourself. You have to recognize these values.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is maybe that's the reason why it's harder for me to discover those values. But like Devin's saying, Devin has those things where it's hey, people tell me I'm good at this, I'm good at this. And Devin kind of understands I guess I kind of am, and can self-acknowledge that. Whereas for me, if you were to say, oh, I think you're really good at this, I take that compliment. Whereas Devin's I guess that is kind of true. Here it is. For me, it's the opposite end where I take it and I'm like, you're wrong. I appreciate that you're saying something nice, but here's why it's wrong. And I go that opposite, pessimistic route, whereas Devin goes a little bit more optimistic.
No,
here's how you fix that. Here's how you fix that, because I used to be that way. Trust me, I used to be that. It was no, dude, just take a compliment. Changed it to, when somebody says you're good at this, say, appreciate you for noticing that. Thank you. And it will literally change how your brain thinks about it. And you'll be maybe, because if people are one I get is hey, Devin, I think you dress nice. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. No, I don't know how to dress. I don't even get into that. I'm like, thank you. And it's just taking a compliment, but it also changes how you feel about yourself, because, and then you obviously, maybe you compliment them back if it's a genuine thing, but just say oh, thank you for noticing, whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you're not good at it, it is what it is, because you'll always know, you know what I mean? When I was skating, people were, are you going to go pro? In my head, I'm like, not a chance. But I was like, well, thank you. Thanks. That feels good. You know what I mean? But in my head, I'm like, I know what a pro is, but I'm not going to get into well, I actually suck because of this. So next time someone tells you, hey, dude, I think you're good at this, hey, man, I appreciate that. And just keep it moving. And you'll be like,
that's it, man.
I feel better now. It's weird. You'll think it makes you feel cocky, but it won't.
See, maybe that's the thing I need to do is that's what I need to do, is that perspective on it.
It's just when you used to be good at MMA, bro, or you're good at video games. You recognize both of those at a young age. And if you didn't, that was just you being naive or something. Like,
I mean,
you tapped out grown men at 15, like a
Dude.
veteran and an ex-convict at 15. You tapped him out. Like, dude, thinking about that as an adult is ridiculous.
I mean,
and you were just like, yeah. I mean,
that's
dude.
just it. You say that, and I'm still just like, yeah. Like,
okay,
I
you
don't.
also tapped out our coach.
I
that
didn't.
has never
tap
been
him
tapped.
out, and I'll
Close
never.
though. You were the closest student in the whole gym.
Like, it's one of those things that it's just like, even then, like, I look at it and like how you kind of go, oh, it's just luck. I'm like, the right day, right time. I'm like, was I decent?
No, I don't
Yes,
think it's
but
luck.
I never
think it's luck at all.
See, that's just it. But it's that same thing. So like how we always talk about you know what I mean? Like, you're giving me that same speech that we give you, even though your perspective on a lot of things is like, oh, it's just luck. And we're all like, no, dude, you did the right thing. Like, you set yourself up for success on that. It's the same thing you're doing to me now.
So do you think your gaming skills are luck?
I don't think gaming skills are luck, but my thing is, when I look at my gaming skills, it's being that hypercritical, and I think that's my problem on it, right?
Because you're at another level.
Right, well, hold on, and that's fine. But when someone's like, dude, I think you're really good at gaming, you say, oh, thank you. Like you can be critical still and be like, like, well, I don't even want to get into the nuances of what I can't do, but you'd be like, oh, thank you, because I've worked on it. You know what I mean? Like, you're good at MMA. Like, thank you. I did it for a while. You know what I mean? Same thing for you, Schwinn. So I don't even know what you're saying. Yeah, next time I tell you did something, oh, it's just luck and I suck. It's like, maybe you worked on it and you did good that time. Maybe.
I wrote it on the board at work. What if it goes right?
That's just like what I'm talking about, though. Like, for me, is trying to break that mental complex, and that's what I always struggle with, is being able to break it.
Yeah.
That's why I bring it up to y'all, because I'm like, all right, dude, I need other perspective, because clearly my mindset on this is wrong, and I need to talk to other people who have probably broken this mindset, who can help me break this mindset.
It's definitely not easy. Yeah, take the compliment.
I'll tell both of y'all. Take the compliment as both of y'all. Take the compliment, and if it's luck, you keep it to yourself. Okay, cool. Like, you know what I mean. Don't. It's negative self-talk. Is that will just train your brain a different way. Like, you gotta get that negative self-talk. What are you gonna say, Sean?
To me, it's always like, I don't want to take the compliment because the fear of not being humble or the fear of being overconfident. But then, like you said, just take it. They don't know if it's luck or not. It's not going to change the world whether you accept that compliment or not. It's just going to change you.
And like,
you might as well accept it and feel good.
To accept it. And what is the worry about? Like, like, I want to like appear humble. Are you really being humble if you're trying to be humble?
I don't know.
I mean, like, are you faking humble because you want people to think that if you were humble, you would be a good guy? You can actually just be humble. You can actually just be humble. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay but it's okay to take a compliment. Humble people will take compliments. You know what I mean? Confident people take compliments, and then,
I'm just trying to relate to Clayton. Like, I don't know if that's what Clayton feels, but that's what my fear was.
See, for me, it's not about being humble. It's that fact of being hypercritical on myself. Like I was saying, like, you see, like, dude, you did this right. Like, let's say we're doing like a sales interaction. You'll see the things that went right, and I'll see the 9 million things I did wrong that I need to fix and that I keep doing. And it's like, you say I'm good, but I understand that I'm trash.
And that's the same. That's the same of being at a different level, though. Like, if one of y'all watched one of my YouTube videos and said, hey, Devin, I actually personally enjoyed that video, I would just say thank you. I really appreciate that. Knowing I made 35 mistakes, knowing I did all these things wrong, I would say thank you. I really appreciate that.
I remember I told you, I was like, dude, I like these videos. You're like, yeah, that one was trash, dude.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not perfect at it, but yeah. No, like, I thought that one but I also said, but this one's better. I'm already like,
you did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did. I said that one's trash because this one's way better. But and again, it's a coaching conversation. You know what I mean? Like, when you're talking about that's a coaching conversation. Like, if you said, hey, here's what I did wrong, and I'll get into that. I could do the same thing with my video. I could be like, so Swin, why did you like that one? Why did you not like the other one? You know, it's like, well, the other one, you babbled. Oh, okay.
But see, that's the other thing for me too, though, is like, I also feel that's the reason why y'all value my opinion on things, is because I'm going to be hypercritical. I'm not going to pull punches on you. Like, if I think it was trash, I'm going to tell you where it was trash. If I think certain parts were good, I'm going to tell you where I thought it was good. So, like, for me, maybe it's just that mindset, but some people value that in me, and maybe that's why there's that resistance to trying to find the nuance and change it.
Which is
you
one
will
of your
always
principles.
One of your principles, and you will always be your own worst critic. Okay?
Yep.
Like, it's just like when people tell me, like, Devin, you're doing fine, you're successful. Deep down, it bothers me. Honestly, it bothers me because I have a different vision. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're doing just fine. That bothers me. I'm like, okay, okay, appreciate it, whatever, keep it moving. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, because you're always going to be your own worst critic. I'm like, I don't feel that way. Like, I feel that way because of different things, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
But see, like, for me, though, it also gets into that weird balance aspect, you know what I mean? Of, like, because you always get that, like, change yourself but stay true to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you always get that kind of sideways speak when it comes to certain things. And it's like, dude, if it's holding me back, but it's the reason some people like me, I guess it's the weighing of values of figuring out, like, yeah, that's why I like him.
So, okay. If you're saying, like, if I start doing positive stuff, if I start taking the compliment and I'm not hypercritical, would that not be you, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. It's like, I feel like eventually following that path, even if, like, it's one of those mindsets of I got to convince myself that's going to be a better version of you. It's worth it. Do it. It's that
okay.
It's the idea behind the fact of, like, well, I mean, maybe it's just like, do I need to change to meet that aspect, or am I okay being where I'm at right now, keeping my principles, and by keeping those principles, that'll get me what I'm supposed to get. You know what I mean?
So I know exactly what you mean, because, and I'm glad you asked. Because there is one fear I have of, like, I think about, had I not been hypercritical, would I get here, right? And that's fine, because I can still analyze my performance and still measure it. Right. I can still track my own personal things that matter to me. That doesn't have to change. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about that second self, of that best version, when you create that second self, and you do want, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, if I change, how am I going to change? Will it be okay if I change? Understand, like, first of all, I mean, you as an idea is just an idea. And if you do change along the way, that's totally okay. Like, you're just an idea, and the ideas you have about yourself are just that. And if people don't like you when you change, screw them. If you're not happy with your results right now, this is for anyone. This is talking to myself. If you are not happy with what you're doing, why would you be afraid to change? If you are not then what is the point of being like, but I wouldn't be that me? And I'm not just calling you out. Like, I had the same conversation with myself. Well, I'm not being me. What if I don't like me? Okay, might as well change and be this other me and be my best version. And guess what? My family still loves me. You guys still love me. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't done anything. Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, the people that matter won't care. Mm-hmm. And the people that do care don't matter. Like,
I guess that's true.
Going all the way back to the people that care about, like, what's happening in politics, like, it affects them. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't matter.
Yeah, dude. And I see what you mean. You're like, am I being authentic? And it's like, dude, you might need, like, you're like, to get where you want to be, you have to change a little bit. And, like, don't get tied down to whoever you think you are.
It's a little bit of that. It's also like, is it the right change? You know what I mean? Is it the actual change that's gonna lead me to the best version of me? You know what I mean? Like, it's also being that, like, hypercritical and being very calculated in the decisions that I try to make. It's that same idea of, like, is this the right, like, is this the actual thing that I need to grow towards, or is that wrong? Am I looking at the wrong way of growing? You know what I mean? Okay. It's not wanting to grow in the wrong direction.
And that's understandable. That's everyone's fear, not wanting to, what if I grow into the wrong person? Put on table, what do you have to lose? I stay the same and nothing changes, and I change and something gets better, because I can always go back here. I can always go back to who I thought I was. I can always go back to this.
True.
But you know, a year or two from now, or even a few months from now, if you feel different about yourself, if you love yourself more, you change how you want to change, whatever that is, you can have that. Or you can just hang on to what you might be now and never even find out. You'll be a better person either way because you'll gone through it.
Yeah.
There's no loss. You can always go back to who you want to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a good perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is that stuff I love talking about. God.
Dude, I mean, it's the stuff that I love talking about too. Like, that's why I like calling you, because we have these discussions all the time. And that's what I like. It's part of like how, like, even me growing as I have, it's gaining that other perspective, the healthy perspective of being like, this is what I need from it. This is what I don't need from it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I always look for it. That's why I'm always asking the question of like, bro, what am I doing wrong here? Like, obviously I'm doing something wrong. What is it?
Right. But yeah, I mean, all the questions you asked are great, because I literally had the same thought patterns. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, dude, like either way, like, and that's the thing, dude. Like, it's never gone bad for me, or if it does go bad, you can just, you know, not do that thing anymore. But like, I feel 20 times better than I did a year ago. Like, I thought about my life the other day about, while same job, living in the same house and everything, my day-to-day is insanely different. Like a year ago, wasn't working out, wasn't playing D&D with y'all, didn't have a YouTube channel, didn't have a podcast, had negative self-image, was scared of people threatening, like, just so many things about myself. Like, didn't write, you know what I mean? Like, all of these things have changed about me, and I feel so, you know, better because of it. Same physical location, same physical job, but I am like, I feel like a new. So yeah, dude, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I mean, what about y'all? You have any other topics you want to roll into or touch on?
I mean, it's up to you, big dog. Oh.